Hey.
I don't think there's double this time. But is there?
Whoa.
All right. Hopefully there's not double. Whoa. We got a subscription with Prime. Fester Heart. Hello,
Hey.
hello. Each person say a sentence. Yeah, I guess if only I'm the only one
Hey, hey,
talking.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Check, check. Matt's on the mic. Anthony, go.
Hello. I love Dallas's background.
Oh yeah, Dallas looks super cool. All right, Dallas.
It looks like the silhouettes of like a mugshot, like not mugshot, but like the usual suspects kind of thing. It's pretty sweet.
No Dallas. Okay, hold on a second.
I should
All
turn
right,
this
Wow,
on
wow,
all right, let me
wow.
try that. Now, is there an echo though?
as well.
Woo.
Nah. Nah.
Okay, that does. No, wait. Echo. Okay, so it can't be. I don't understand how Dallas is. Dallas turns off. I got Anthony. I've got Matt. I've got me. Why doesn't it ever have Dallas's Facecam Marvel? Is that it? Dallas, say something. It's always
I
Dallas.
heard like 4 echoes there. I don't know what's going on.
Did that do it? No, it didn't do it.
I don't know.
What the heck? All right, let me switch this over. Or why did I do that? That was a bad move on my part. Okay, hold on a second. Making scene, unmute. I don't. Good times. It's always something special. All right. So I got Anthony. But if we do the desktop audio, or wait a second. Let me try this. All right, everyone talk at once.
Check, check, check.
I don't, I don't know what that means.
Oh.
Do we have Dallas now? Okay, Dallas, talk by yourself.
I'm talking about myself, talking to myself, what I do every day. Every day I say things to my own brain. No one can hear.
But can we still hear Matt say something?
Check, check. I'm here.
Okay,
It's
do we
Matt.
still have Matt?
Yes? No?
Okay, and what about you, Anthony? Say something like how much you love
Hello?
Matt.
Hello? Can you hear
Oh,
me?
yeah, I literally hear a super loud hello coming out of the bedroom. Okay, so we're all good? Woohoo! All right, welcome to the Adepticon Showdown. See, it only took us like 45 minutes to get started this time, so that's cool.
You did it in 6 live though, which is like
That's true. So
87% faster than last time.
I think I realized what it is, so I'm gonna have to. I need to write this down for next time.
What is it?
Get a post-it now. Get a
Well,
post-it.
for some reason I have a soundtrack for Anthony and Matt, but not for Dallas. But all of you are on my desktop. So when I have the desktop on to get Dallas, then you guys have 2 mics each and they echo. So I think that's what it is. Good times, good times. All right, is everyone ready for Adepticon? 'Cause
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm still getting figures ready for my classes.
Yeah, same.
Oh, I haven't started yet.
Yeah, what? What's wrong
What?
with you, Anthony?
They're just in boxes staring at me, man.
You gotta prime them.
This is the first time. I'm ahead. This is the first time I'm done. Like I was done 2 weeks before Adepticon, and I've been freaking out every day since.
Hey, you were talking about all that time off you get it at your work and stuff. You probably just took a couple weeks off, like
just taking naps.
just taking naps and priming.
This is live.
I had a 3D print mine and then paint them. So half of them are shipped, which hopefully they made it because I shipped them to Heather. Hopefully they didn't get lost in the mail because that would really suck because then my job starts over again. But good times. But the only thing I have left is my weathering class, which is a lot of prep. So that's the only sucky part. But it's a cool class, so it all works out perfectly. Cool. Well, yeah, my brain is mush.
Okay.
So everyone's like kind of like we've all seen the pictures because we took them. Everyone's pretty close to finishing up their posses. Maybe not completely, but we're getting there. So you know what? Let me hold on just a second.
I was gonna paint Storm tonight. You know, I just kind of like doing these one figure during the course of the stream.
Right.
See what we can do in that amount of time. It's been pretty fun. So that's what I'm gonna do, and that'll bring my force up to 10. I also have beasts, so kind of 11, I guess. But I don't know. For some reason, Storm just looked cool. You know, she's floating, got lots of light bouncing all over the place. So I'm like, yeah, I wanna paint that.
Is she just primed right now?
Yeah.
I'm
She's
gonna
primed.
finish her today. That'd be
Yep.
sweet.
Matt's gonna
So we'll start first with Matt, right? So you'll start first, and at the end of the stream, we'll do a little check back to see how far you gotten.
Yeah,
And
we can
then-
see
We can do that.
how it did.
Cool
Yeah.
beans.
And then Aaron's still painting.
Yeah,
Right?
so I painted a bunch today. So like the pictures I took this morning for Ross, that kind of went out on social media. That was before I painted all day today. So some things have changed a little bit. It's mostly just tightening things up. A couple of guys I didn't even paint the faces on, you know. Like I realized Pyro just had a yellow face from the airbrushing. I was like, oh. Like in my mind, he was done. I'm like, I've got this. Like I'm totally good to go.
Maybe he's wearing a mask.
Yeah, he's
got a
wearing a
mask.
very yellow mask, like that's for sure. So, and I haven't painted the eyes on anybody, and then I realized I had a bunch of I had to do the OSL glow effects on Hulkbuster and Iron Man. So it kind of turned into like an all day affair. Just tight. You know when you like try to tighten things up and then it just takes forever because you're like every time you tighten one thing up you realize there's a bunch of things wrong. And then trying to remember these are gaming figures, so don't go too crazy. But I wanted to get the OSLs and stuff done on the bases that have OSL because what I'm going to show tonight is basically putting some newspapers and making it look kind of windy or whatever on the bases. I got some leaf litter for some dirt and debris and all that stuff. So my part might actually go pretty quick tonight, which will be good because we have a lot to talk about from other people. But yeah, so my army has changed a little bit from this morning. Hopefully it looks better.
Okay.
So
post the photos you sent. Post the official photos.
Yeah, well, when I take them, I mean, I already posted the official, or I posted the photos from this morning. They look like they're done, but they're not. It's movie magic, so you know, one of those industry tricks you learn.
That's A Love Joy in a nutshell. Looks like it's done, but it's not.
But it's not. It will never be done.
Yeah, so Aaron will be painting bases, working on his bases, and then I'll I'm mostly done. I think I'm done, but I think you could always work more on bases. So I might be painting some bases, but my section I'll do a X4 show and tell. So let me know.
Super cool.
Yeah, so you let me know who you want to see, who you want to talk, who you me to talk through. If you have questions, we can go through that, and then Dallas is gonna wrap up with
some reveals.
Some reveals that we don't even know about. Somebody with a fiery little.
Yeah. So it's up to you. So I'm gonna be painting while you guys are doing yours. I have Phoenix. I have Phoenix to work on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm excited for. Which is not part of my Adepticon squad. My Adepticon squad is completely done. And it's kind of up to I'm going to leave it up to everybody else. Do you want to see my leader or do you want to see some grunts? And then we'll talk about the game that we're going to play and how we're doing like a narrative, a cultivated narrative experience for you three.
Because up until now, we don't know nothing about the game.
All
we know is what we
no
have.
idea.
Like, we're practicing for we don't know what. And I'll tell you right now, I've been hitting it hard with Apocalypse. And I don't even know if Apocalypse is in the game. So if he's not, I've been practicing against the wrong guy for like weeks. But I do know Apocalypse is...
I'm not playing Apocalypse.
Ah, son of a biscuit.
No, I could have sworn you were playing Apocalypse.
You know what? It's okay. Yeah, because he did those really cool conversions and everything. And so, but the thing is, Apocalypse is really tough. So any way you look at it, like I've been practicing against a really tough guy. So we'll see what happens. But
I did 3 totally different conversions that fit my leader just for this. This is purely just for this.
So was
no one has seen it outside the studio. I even made special terrain.
Wow.
I even made special terrain for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love to see your leader, but maybe we can have people vote and see what they want to.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool to see what the audience wants to know.
But let's. I think Scott has made a petition to see what Matt's painting on screen. So maybe
I gave a teaser on Facebook.
It's just Matt's face. I knew he wasn't. I knew it wasn't on screen yet because it would have switched on the camera.
I was gonna give myself angry eyebrows.
Yeah, like we thought we were gonna watch Matt paint a miniature. It turned out he just did his own makeup. Awesome.
All I was doing was painting these lightning bolts to be white. You want to have a white undercoat here. Yeah. And then I'm going to hit this with a little blow dry. I think that I kind of want Storm's clothes to be black. I kind of like the black version of her clothing a bit more than the white. Especially the way I've been doing mine with like a really dark black comic book inking style. Sorry, I just hitting with this blow dryer here to dry this. So then I've got a little bit of turquoise up here. And this is pretty transparent paint. So we're gonna add a little bit of white to that. And a little bit of cyan ink. Yeah. And that can be sort of our lightning color. I'm gonna go with a blue lightning effect. I think that we see that quite a bit. I don't know, unless people want to see yellow, but I have a lot of yellow in my squad right now, so I think blue would be a better contrast. So basically this one's tough because there's light coming in from both sides on her legs. Actually, before I start doing this, I should put a little bit of white on her clothes and stuff first. Yeah. So what we want to do is come in from either side and just kind of give her a little bit of light. Like so. This will give us a little bit better luminosity and it'll look a little cleaner than if we were to paint straight over the primer.
Which white are you using? Is that a titanium?
This is no, it's AK white. Okay. It's just white,
just white
from AK. Yeah, I'm kind of holding off on the titanium white, kind of keeping it in reserve.
Right. I know you're famous for using like 5 different kinds of whites on the model to be what
yeah. It's a good question. Yeah.
Sure. Which one are you using now?
Also, this AK white has like a lot of it's a better coverage than titanium white.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fiend says she wasn't very stable but fun to paint.
Yeah, she isn't. She's like,
yeah.
You know.
I
think with the hard plastic, unless you really do something bad, it's pretty strong. It's not gonna snap on you, you know, or it doesn't feel like it's gonna snap on me. Of course, we'll
I
see.
actually-
We'll see through the course of this painting. I suppose.
Can I,
I actually
Can I-
painted
The
can
thing
I
is-
give a tip for painting Storm?
Sure.
These
Yeah.
nuts.
Because if it breaks, I'm gonna blame you. So you know.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, like, I'll be perfectly honest. Like, when we were designing Storm, we thought that we were pretty confident that this plastic would hold her up, and it does. And like Matt said, unless you do something pretty dramatic, it's not going to break. But she does have a little bit of a wobble, and we've learned from that. But what I did when I painted mine is I took a little bit of blue tack. Why am I not on screen? I took a little blue tack
Put it down there.
and just did that. And then I was able to paint her, and she didn't wobble, and I didn't worry about it. And then I was able to pull that off
That's
and
awesome.
finish it up.
It's a good tip.
Hey, we got Sarge in the building. What's up, Sarge?
And Simone says hi. Hello. I actually pinned Storm to a. Well, I had her on a paper clip, and then put her in a pin vise and I painted her that way, and then I pinned her onto a onto one of the rocks. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I was like, ooh, that worked out well too.
This wobble actually isn't bugging me, but I think that it would be easier for you guys to see on screen if she doesn't wobble as much. So I'm gonna take the, like Dallas was saying, I'm just gonna put that underneath there. Yeah. So now, she's gonna wobble a lot less.
These nuts.
Do you ever? Do you like? How do you ever wear gloves when, if you're touching the figure, or just
Me?
you're with oils and stuff? Or
I don't wear gloves. I can just repaint anything that sort of rubs off or chips or whatever.
Matt,
Okay.
can you go
How we
up just
go.
like upwards just a little bit?
Yeah, actually, I'll just
There
move
you
the
go.
camera.
There you go.
That's better.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks.
You're like still on screen, but you're right there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
I can't always like look down at the right time.
I filmed a.
Now this is like there's a lot of light right here, so but I think that this is actually going to be quite a bit darker. But we can kind of see where there's like this speckly of the primer. That's actually going to end up being black. So it'll be really cool. It will have kind of like light from two sides with darkness in the middle. And I think you see this a lot in comics actually. It can look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have a little bit of light sort of coming from below like this.
A bit of a core shadow in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like on these sides, yeah.
Yeah. Now, as far as the back goes, let's kind of get a little bit of that in there too. Just a little bit of detail. I remember this is like a 3-hour paint job. So we want enough detail, but it's more about like the overall dramaticism of the whole piece is kind of what I'm going for. So really dramatic lighting and everything. Really good visual impact on the tabletop, which I think is more important for gaming stuff than all the little details and stuff. Details are nice, right? But if you can't see, you're not going to see them at a distance, but you will see all that dramatic sort of painting. So that's my philosophy.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to like how you approach simplifying a figure. And I think that there's different ways to simplify a figure, and I feel like it's an interesting way to like put your own spin and your own take on a miniature, right?
For sure, yeah. So now I'm going to take that turquoise, and we're just going to say, what we can do is kind of paint the turquoise along the edge of this white area that we just painted, leaving the white in the center. Right? So you see just that does a lot. Yeah, okay. We can make this area sort of bigger anyways, because we're going to come back in with the black, so we can kind of police the outer edge of it. But what we want to do is make sure that there's like this kind of white core to this. At least this is what I'm going to try to do.
All right, Scott, did I lose my echo? I think I realized what I did wrong.
I think it's interesting that you can actually you can do OSL first, do the lighting effect first before you paint the figure, right? And I think most people would paint the figure first and then paint the lighting effect on.
Yeah.
So when Matt, when do you do that versus start with OSL like you're doing now?
I generally want to have like the OSL established from the beginning, but in this case, basically the only light is going to be coming from these lightning bolts. So there's not going to be any other light on the figure. So the whole thing is going to be just the OSL lighting the whole thing up. And the trick will be to try to still have the light be really clear, with direction and intensity and all that stuff, while also seeing what these materials are and what color they are and stuff like that. So
yeah.
So in this case, especially, I mean, like if I didn't have the OSL painted, there wouldn't be anything painted on it because that's the only light source on the figure. And I really think that made sense on this one because she basically has light, from multiple directions. If I were to have another light sort of doing a fill sort of thing, it would overpower the lightning bolt lights and, just kind of be a bit lame, I don't know. It would just complicate things, and
it wouldn't be
you
as
wouldn't get any
dramatic.
benefit from it either. That's the other thing.
It wouldn't be as dramatic. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And what you're going to give up is that there are going to be big areas of shadow, but I think that is very much in the comic book style. Comic book artists don't shy away from having big areas of black and shadow and stuff. I mean, it does make their job a little easier if you think about it, because those are areas they don't have to do anything in. But it also sets off the shapes. It really makes those shapes very bold and readable, and that's like perfect for gaming models, honestly. Like you want to have your shapes like really bold and readable so you can see them from across the table, right?
Yeah.
So that's the concept.
Really helps cut that silhouette.
Yeah. Yeah, we can already see sort of how that's working, and this dark shadow on top. I mean, that's gonna look really great. Yeah.
Why does silhouette matter?
It's because that's like how our brain sees the silhouette first. Like it's gonna, it can identify things like from very simplified shapes, So the silhouette really matters because we're gonna see that first before we see color or anything else, So if you have a good silhouette, it will give you like really good instant impact, instant feedback. Yeah.
Interesting.
In some ways, we actually like enjoy art. A lot of art is, it's not. It doesn't have to be super detailed everywhere on that piece of art. And we actually enjoy being able to be like, wow, that's like stylized, but it really works. Like it's kind of in some ways that's just as hard as painting something realistic in some ways, because you have to decide what to simplify, and how you're going to do it. And you can have a bit more of your artistic hand in things when you do that as well. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Very, yeah, I agree.
We like to design silhouette forward in our miniatures. Like we always think about the big silhouette of the character before any other part comes into shape. When we're
yeah, that's really
and
smart.
from a design point, what do you think about Dallas?
I mean, the very first thing I like to do is draw a big shape like this. Like when, like, you know, I talked about last time I was here, I talked about how like when we concept these, right? We concept like maybe 3, 4, 6, 8, 15 different poses. But a lot of times, like this was one pose, and it was, I just drew this shape first, this big phoenix with her inside it. Like the pose didn't necessarily matter at that point. It was like that big silhouette, that dramatic, sharp shape of fire erupting, right? Because that's the most important thing on the miniature when you go to set that on the table, right? Like Matt's saying.
Yeah, it's not like the details don't matter, you know, as much, and sometimes they can even distract your eye. So you got to be careful of that. But if you get a good like shape to the figure, it has that visual impact. It works on people, you know. So I think that that's really cool, and it's a whole different, I don't know, realm to play around with in your work. Because you know we all get obsessed with our blending or our like you know, our freehand or whatever, and that's great. I mean, I do all that too, right? But you know, it's great to like art will continually have something new that you can play with and learn to master.
And other stuff like all that detailing and freehand that we want to master and we want to worry about, like it's the silhouette that draws the eye and you're like, whoa, what's that? And then you get to experience this moment of discovery with the artist. We're like, oh, holy cow, look at that face, or look at that freehand you did on the arm. Like it's that delving deeper and deeper and uncovering more and more things.
Yeah, it's like the silhouette and the color scheme and the use of contrast. That's like what grabs your attention, and then as you dig deeper into it, you pick it up, you look closer and closer. That's when you start to see all those extra things, the extra detail and effort that you put in there. Sorry, I'm just digging around for some burnt umber. I'm gonna put a little bit of burnt umber. I think that's a good skin tone for Storm.
So Patron 82 says, so it looks like you're making the silhouette a bright color. Is it better to define what that with lighter or darker? When I think of a silhouette, I think of darker tones.
Well, I think that you can do both, and the thing is, like, I'm actually it's going to be black. It's going to be a dark black phase, but we're working up to that. So yeah, you can have there's ways to make a silhouette with light colors, and there's ways to do it with dark colors. You can do both.
Comics deal with both with the black lighting, but then they do the rim lighting. So
yeah, the rim lighting, exactly. Sorry.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Like I'm excited that you're going into this.
Yeah. In a way, I think that since we have these strong lights, we want to kind of have like some rim light as well, if we can. But then also that dark core shadow that goes in the center and at the tops of the arms and everything, which will be black. To give that comic book look, I'm going all the way to black with it as well, you know. Yeah. Both can be considered silhouette though, and they're both really useful. And when you're painting, especially even on larger scale stuff that aren't gaming pieces, you can arrange the lighting situation so that you get that rim light on the piece. And that can be a really nice thing, because like when you see a rim light on a miniature, you want to turn it around and see the other side, you know. And also it kind of, yeah, it gives you that nice silhouette. I'm gonna start that core shadow with this burnt umber, and we'll do a path in black. As with all my paint jobs doing this style, we give the areas color first, and then it really only comes together when we do that passive black paint. But that usually happens near the end of the process. Right now, you know, we just gotta trust the process here a little bit. Yeah. Let's see. Let's give that lightning a little bit of blue light, though. Maybe a little bit more white. I want it to be a little bit different than the cast light that I used, so we're going to make it a little bit whiter. And then we'll actually return with some titanium white on this eventually. If you want to make something look like it's actually casting light and like it's like glowing, you want to have like a core of white in the center of it. So you can't just like paint it like a bright color and have it work as well. Yeah, that's been my experience. So if you had like a yellow light, you would paint it like a really intense yellow, but then you put pure white in the center. You know, you don't mix it with yellow, you pure white.
Would you like around that pure white? Would you go for something like a more saturated yellow in that situation, or would you keep that yellow kind of like desaturated with the white in it? Like, how would you approach that?
I think you would. I think that in general you'd want it to be more saturated, unless you wanted the light to look sort of sickly or something. Gotta pull this off for now. Get in there. Yeah, but generally, like it goes from saturated. It should be like a saturated color that surrounds like the white entirely. So you can kind of imagine like a flashlight or something like that. If you were to just paint that, like, you know, flashlight yellow, the head of the flashlight, it wouldn't really look like it's glowing, even if you have like cast light around it, you know. But if you were then to paint, you know, a little like a white glow in the center of that, a white halo, it would then look like it's casting the light, especially if it's surrounded by like, you know, the cast light. But of course the cast light is by making the object that's casting the light have that white core, and only the thing that's actually glowing have the white core, then it differentiates the glowing object from the light that's casting, you know?
Yeah. Pete asks, are you gonna create a Terminator with that silhouette?
In a way, yeah, definitely. Like the core shadow is the Terminator. So it's basically like that dark shadow in the center of the model is the Terminator, and then we have two light sources, one on either side.
And then can you, just for folks, can you explain what a Terminator is?
Yeah, like a Terminator is just like where the influence of a light source completely like drops off entirely. So usually it's like a dark shadow. So yeah. You know, usually like it will be like a big overhanging area, you know, and you want to make this area very consistent. Like you don't want it to wobble all over the place, and it's also another thing. It's kind of like ties into the whole silhouette idea, because it creates like a dark silhouette that defines the shape to our eyes. Yeah. I'm gonna mix up a little gray. I want to kind of like define these rocks a little bit. With these sort of angular shapes, a lot of times I just want to like fill in a few sides.
Yeah, just with the like rim lights and terminators, like those create very dramatic light situations. Like if someone was walking in from like the sunset or explosion, they'd be very backlit because it's dark. Like the front's a little darker, you know, and terminators would denote like a very strong light, but in a without a lot of fill light, right? Because then if there was a fill light, then the Terminator would not be as obvious, right? Because then that light would fill it up.
Yes.
And so, yeah. So I think that sets apart the comic book style, because you're always looking for very dramatic like light situations. And I think it's really fun to paint. And it's like a kind of a cerebral way to paint, because you're always looking on how volumes, you have to reinterpret volumes, right, with the different lights, sources, and directions and whatnot. It's fun.
Yeah, and you're also like asking yourself, well, like if I just kind of shift this a little bit, is it going to be more dramatic? Let's do that, you know. So you can kind of make some interesting choices. But yeah, like just the sort of you're never really going to have like a comic book style that's just, you know, boring lighting situations and stuff. Like,
yeah. At least not like modern comics, you know. Like I feel like the older comics, it was a bit more evenly lit, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But recent, yeah, like the more modern comics, it's, you know, maybe since like the 90s or something, it's been more dramatic.
You love our 90s comics around here.
I do. Yeah. Again, so glad you chose to make the X-Men the 90s X-Men, Dallas. That's what really drew me into to MCP, you know. So thank you.
Everybody remembers that those Jim Lee covers.
Yep. 100%, man.
I started my comic collection a little bit before the 90s, but the 90s was definitely full blown.
Yeah.
I was working in comic shops, and I was traveling like an hour to 2 hours to different big cities to go to comic shops on the weekends to spend my $50 to buy whatever comic I could find.
That's a good money back then for comics. Yeah, I loved before the 90s. I really loved like Secret Wars and Infinity Gauntlet and that series.
Yeah, I got my Secret Wars. I got my full collection of Secret Wars. I got my number 8 on display.
Nice. Oh, you're gonna have to show us your collection sometime, Dallas, on stream.
My comic collection?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Some of your like key ones, you know.
My keys? Cool. If Ross gives me permission, I'll show whatever I have at my desk right now.
Okay. Matt, how are you thinking about which volumes to accentuate and to highlight and stuff like that, and which ones to kind of deprioritize when you're simplifying?
Well, I definitely like kind of simplify the back more than the front. um, it has to do with like I'll simplify the further away from the like face and the upper body it is, the more simplified I make it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of, and then of course the back gets more simplified than the front. Yeah.
So kind of the two T's. So like the first T is from top of head to chin and from brow or temple to temple, and that's your most concentrated. And then the second T is top of head to belt and then shoulder to shoulder. So it's less concentrated, and then outside of those is even less concentrated.
Yeah, I guess I've never thought of it that way. I don't know this 3T's concept, but yeah, I think that it's like really common and a good way to do things. Because yeah,
Where did I read about that?
I don't know. That sounds interesting.
That will focus you into the most important parts of the figure, and it looks better. I mean, it kind of like is more contrast because the not every part of the model has the same amount of detail then. And you can use that to sort of to focus the attention of the person checking your model out.
Yeah.
I'm going to use now we're going to hit this with a bit of blue mixed with black because I want her clothes to be black, not white.
You mean because of the darkness, or because she's actually wearing black clothes?
Because she's actually wearing black clothes, yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Gotcha. My store's wearing white clothes, so I don't know. She does have both, but a black uniform, a black costume, and a white one.
Yeah, she does, and I chose the black costume in this way because I wanted the only influence to be from the lightning bolts, and I think that's easier. Also, I don't really like the way really black comic book line work looks on really bright white things as much as I like it on black things. So it's just a personal preference. In that respect, but yeah.
I liked your burgundy Wolverine.
That's
a good idea. Like just to be, I mean, we all got pretty much a completely different Wolverine, right? Or Anthony, you got rid of your Wolverine, or did you?
Oh,
no, you
this
got
is my
that one.
Wolverine.
Yeah,
This
dude,
one.
I love his blue jeans. They're so good.
They're sufficiently sweaty and dirty, so you know. I like your Wolverine's like his long sleeve shirt. It's a unique take, Aaron.
Is that? Oh,
I don't think I've seen it before.
I think I've seen it a couple times that way. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. But Matt's got the classic, brown Wolverine.
Yeah, total throwback. I thought it would be fun to do that.
I love that one. That version.
Yeah, you see a lot of the yellow and blue one, and that makes sense, right? But that brown and sort of reddish brown one, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I dig it.
I had to do 3. I had to do the yellow and gold, or the blue and gold. I had to do the brown and mustard, and I had to do the black and white.
Oh,
black and white?
The X-Force one. The X-Force one?
The X-Force one.
Oh, nice.
I had to paint 3 Wolverines because I'm an idiot.
The same figure, though?
Same figure.
Okay.
Same miniature. Just painted 3 different color schemes. It's fine. Whatever. I'm fine.
That's awesome.
You don't mind painting the same figure 3 times, right, Dallas?
I don't. Especially a Wolverine. Are you kidding?
No. You can paint as many Wolverines as they'll give you.
Yeah.
Dallas has a closet full of Wolverines.
I mean, I have a closet full of Wolverine comics as well.
He's a fun figure to paint for sure.
Yeah. I didn't even have a single figure that I did not enjoy in this. I liked all. I really enjoyed painting all of them.
Yeah.
And they present their own different challenges too, which is pretty cool. Yeah, really, really fun.
I agree.
Well, we'll just keep making Wolverines and Spider-Mans. Don't you worry.
What'd you say?
I said we'll just keep making Wolverines and Spider-Mans. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
You're gonna make all of the Spider-Mans from Across the Spider-Verse, right?
I mean, Schick and I always say on a long enough timeline, we want to make everything we can.
Well, I think there's like 7 Spider-Man, so I think we're due for another Wolverine, no?
Oh yeah, we're totally due for another Wolverine. I mean, I say that to Schick every day. I'm like, I think we could do another Wolverine.
Yeah, come on.
You know what, buddy? Just do another Wolverine on schedule. Quit worrying about whose it's for. It's for me.
Well, I guess technically Laura, Kenny, and Honey Badger are Gabby. They're kind of Wolverines, so technically.
Yeah, aren't they clones of him?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Clonesies.
Yeah, I mean, and then Weapon X. I mean,
Yeah,
man,
true.
we got Maverick. Maverick is so rad.
Maverick is cool. Growing up, I always thought Maverick was really cool, but then went back to the comics and he didn't do very much. He just kind of gets knocked out every time.
Yeah, he's kind of he doesn't do a lot. He shows up. He's Weapon X though. We don't judge.
Yeah, but he looks really cool. I remember. Yeah.
And his blasters, like with the double banana clip on the blaster pistol.
Yeah, that's true. It's fun reading comic books again. I haven't seen them in like so long, and after getting Marvel Unlimited, just reading them again, just like it just brings me back. It's crazy that happens.
Yeah, you talked about that last time, like getting a Marvel Unlimited subscription for inspiration, and I think that's such a great idea because like I love good references and inspiration, and like you never know what you're gonna discover.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's just so much to learn about how different artists, approach different scenarios or different ways to interpret like motion, a figure, or whatever, a character. It's just cool,
It's always good there's always new things to learn. That's what's great about art.
Agree. Storm's coming along real quick, man, as usual. It's pretty impressive. It's all done.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know. I like with these pieces. It's like it's fun to challenge myself at this point. What can I actually get done in this time frame? That's why these streams have been really fun. Yeah.
It's nice not having all the gubbins. Like a lot of miniature lines has like so many gubbins.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
And just having some sleek little miniatures with like they got pants and a hat. Like
no, it's so true though. I mean this X-23 is just like she's got yoga outfit on, and it's just it's just like cool. But it's fun to practice anatomy at this scale,
Yeah.
And it's really that's been really rewarding.
Honestly, all those extra extraneous things hanging off of everything, they don't do anything for me. Like they make painting more of a chore, So I wish more models were designed like MCP.
They can also clutter the silhouette, right? They can go back to like, like chunking up the silhouette so you can't quite tell the vibe of the character.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, has anybody ever said like, man, I wish this model had more skulls hanging off of it?
There's that one guy.
I've talked to some people, some people some people who are sculpting, whatever. I think the idea is like, well, if you put more details in, maybe like
It's worth more.
people buying it will find that there's more value in it or something, you know.
I can tell you, like, sculptors
paid
do
by the
think that
skull?
way.
What?
They get paid by the skull.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I had a friend who would just put, like, we're like, dude, the guy doesn't have to bring every pot and pan that he owns with him on this quest. Like, you could just have the belt blank. Like, just the belt by itself is kind of cool, you know?
Yeah.
But
like,
they couldn't get past that. Like, I've got to do more. Like, you know, it's not enough type of thing.
Yeah.
Digital sculpting's really brought that to the fore, right? Because like a physical sculptor back in the day could only sculpt what I could paint.
Right.
And then digital sculpting comes along and they're like, I can sculpt stuff that you can't paint.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I can sculpt things that you can't print.
Yeah.
It usually goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would say
snap.
that, like, especially on these models, the digitally sculpt, like, eyes become harder at this scale
Yes.
now
They're
than they
getting
used to
smaller
be.
and smaller.
Yeah.
So I'm sure maybe you can speak to this, like what you do to ensure that they're still like
Paintable.
paintable. Because I've run into some sculpts where you know, I'm a good painter and I'm like I can't paint these eyes perfect at this scale. It's just not possible. You know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, actually, a lot of that comes down to, you know, we don't just, you know, we have a system where we don't just sculpt something and then we call it a day. Like we iterate on it, and we have a whole committee that reviews the sculpts, and we actually do prototypes. Like we get prototypes made. And so
Yes.
I sat down, like, and as a painter, right? Like Matt, you and I, we're professional painters. We painted together. Like I sat down, and as a painter, I look at it and I'm like holding the physical thing, and I'm like, and you know, one of the first notes of almost the image is make the eyes bigger. Just give me a little eye bump. Just give me a little eye bump.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta understand what you're sculpting and what the end result is, right? So
Yeah.
having somebody review it that is actually going to go home and paint it and give you feedback on it is huge.
Yeah. Tavana says, "You guys keep this up, and I'm gonna want to paint something from this range." Yeah, you should.
Oh yeah.
Don't say that like it's a bad thing. Like,
That's the point. I mean, it's they're really great to paint. You know,
I got a kid in college. Okay, come on.
That's kind of the point.
I mean, the game's cool too, but it's like I think these models are cool enough to just paint them for the sake of painting, honestly. So,
Yeah.
you
know. they're like 40 millimeter, right? So they're bigger. They're like true scale 40, right? So they're like a little bit bigger than your.
Well, I don't want to say exactly what scale. I call it crisis scale.
Crisis scale, okay.
Yeah,
but they are bigger.
They are bigger. They're definitely bigger.
Yeah, and then, I
think you're able to keep the scale pretty consistent, which is nice too. Because some other sometimes when I've been painting things, it's like, wow, this guy is way bigger than this other guy.
Yeah, I love that you kept Wolverine so short. It's so stubby. It was great. That's how you should be, you know.
You gotta curate the line, right? You gotta make the everything should feel holistic. Like when we design a lot of like. So you got 4 characters in a box, right? So like we kind of think like the holistic, like, well, what does this box look like together? How does this box look when you present this box? And then like, okay, well, there's 2 affiliations in that box. Okay, well, how do these characters interact with that affiliation, right? And then it's like, well, then there's a grander vision of it. Like, well, how does this interact with common characters that may not be part of affiliation, right? Like, or a certain team. And then like there's the bigger, like, well, how does this look as a whole line? And so we really do try to like, when we're working on a measure, we want to see it up against like everything from the original Captain America up to like, you know, Phoenix, right? The Phoenix I'm working on. Like you want to see that holistic view of like, how does this miniature interact with the line and the associated characters?
Yeah, because what you're saying that like Captain America is the I don't know,
your
ideal, your benchmark.
Yeah,
the ideal man.
we totally use Captain America as like that kind of like that sort of like, this is the sort of baseline marker for Marvel Crisis Protocol. I mean, of course, it's Captain America. I mean, that's the baseline model for Marvel, right? It's Cap, right? You got to measure everything to Cap. So, you know, you just use Captain America, and if everything feels good around him, then you're nailing it.
Yeah. No,
Have you ever gotten a sculpt in and it was just like way too big?
Oh yeah. That happens all the time. Or way too small. It's like the sculptor sculpted it like a real small scale, and you're like, okay, this gotta get like 50% bigger, boys.
No, I like it because like going back to read the X-Men comics, it was funny how like Wolverine has this crush on Jean Grey, but he's like, I mean, he's like, she's like way taller than him, you know, and it's funny. And I mean, I'm not tall either, so it's all good. But I'm a short dude. But when you put the figures next to each other too, like Jean Grey's like way like taller than Wolverine too, so it's like it's kind of funny like how is he can't get the camera.
Nailed it.
Like how
why like the scales like stays consistent, but the figures are different sizes. Like it all works, you know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool because like I was surprised when I went and played last weekend with my buddy. He had a bunch of models I didn't have, and like I was shocked at how big some of them were, you know. But it doesn't look weird. Like in the big scheme of things, like you put them next to everything else, you're like, oh yeah, well, you know, the Hulk looks like about the Hulk size, and you know this, that, and the other. So, you know, Thor is a little bit bigger than everybody else, you know.
Yeah.
So, I think it works for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have a comic book Thor to be, you know, comic book Thor. Like, dude needs to feel big.
Tavana says that as a sculptor, you need sometimes you have to sculpt flashy things just to make it look fancier. You can sell it sells better even if it's more of a paint.
Yeah, that is totally true. Like if you look at all the STL companies and stuff that are out, like, you know, the pictures are magnificent, and then you print out the model and you're like, I can't paint this. Like it's like so detailed, you know. So I get that too, you know.
Yeah.
There's a certain beauty of not all that detailed at the same time. But the thing is, as a sculptor trying to compete against all these other people, I mean, really, those companies, it's like a point of purchase display sale. It's like, oh, it popped up on Facebook and it's $10, buy it, you know, whether you can print it or paint it or anything. It just looks cool. So I get that too. I mean, it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it's just nice when you have something simple and elegant and looks great. It looks great, and it also paints up really great. You know, something to be said for that. Because you might make that sale, but once that person is can't paint it, it's hard to make a second one after that. Yeah. You know, they're gonna buy something else.
One of the conversations we have a lot is we have this conversation a lot in the studio about this, right? It's like, the end user, we want to give you success as a painter, and not just Matt, Anthony, and Aaron, right? Everybody from any skill level, like we celebrate all skill levels at Atomic Mass Games, and we want to give everybody that feeling of success and achievement. And so, even though these are real simple designs, we try to like have, like hair is designed in a way to like catch a wash, but not be overly detailed to where it's like chunky clunky, right? So like somebody like Matt can come in and do every individual strand of hair, but you as an inexperienced painter, you could just do a single tone wash and call it a day. The bodies are the same way. We try to think of our anatomy and have or the cloth, especially like anything like a cape. Like, have y'all noticed like all the capes are very sharp planed instead of soft, like soft planed? And that's to give you that ability to like control light and shadow a little bit easier as a new painter. We're not fighting against like a bubbly, classic sculpted cloth. We go for that more angular stuff.
Yeah,
we're trying to make it easy for you to paint.
Well, the thing is, even a good, even like someone who's really experienced, like one of us, like we prefer it that way as well,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I agree. Like, because like I've always said, like, give me a place for my paintbrush to party, right?
Yeah.
I want to be able to paint some freehand, but sometimes I'm like, well, I just want to paint this, so I can just knock it out real quick. And so, like, our goal is to strike that balance between like achievable for a new painter, but the place to play for somebody with experience.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a good way to put it. I think that's a good goal too.
Thanks. Yeah. I want everybody to be successful, dang it.
Well, we're coming up on switching topics. So, Matt, do you want to show us about where you gotten so far and talk us through a bit before we switch to Aaron?
Yeah, I think that we've gotten really far on this, and you can kind of see the general, like all the general look to it is there, except for maybe a couple spots here. But if you were to just kind of squint your eye, you would see the impression of it. Maybe I can take this palette away. We can see it a little clearer. Like it's already communicating everything that's going to be on there, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of what you want to do. You want to strike like directly, and then from here we can add detail. We can add as much as we can fit in the next. I don't know how much time I have left, but however much time it is. So yeah, that's the goal. And then at some point we're gonna do that sort of black comic booky line work going through there, and it should be pretty cool. So yeah.
Cool. Well,
yeah,
I have faith in you, Matt.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll see how I do. We'll check back in at the end and see where it is. I gotta step away from the desk here momentarily, though.
Right on.
We believe in you.
We believe.
Thanks.
We believe. All right.
All right, Aaron, you're up, dude.
Got the look of my dirty desk. It was awesome. All right. Dude, I got all paranoid today because I've just been going a mile a minute this whole month. And I come in and look at my desk, and it's just a disaster area. Like, I don't even know where I could put a model. So I cleaned for like the hour before this. So first time in a while. It's awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so I've got my guys here. So this is Hulkbuster. And I added all the glowy stuff, so like little bits of glow coming on the sides of the model, all that good stuff. Did the same thing for his buddy. Closer. He's coming out pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Thor, I don't think I had even started painting him last time, so Thor is looking awesome. Pretty stoked on him.
Yeah, great.
Pretty simple. We've seen Black Widow. I'm really kind of bummed. You guys did a bunch of girls. I did one. But it's funny because I have lots of like female characters here at home, but I just it wasn't part of my squad. So, but I'm gonna do a slew of them after Adepticon. So we got our Hulk, and tonight I'm gonna be working on the bases, like finishing up the bases. I mean, obviously they're painted, but I want to put extra stuff like newspapers and these little the little black strips, like when they fix the cracks in the asphalt, they put the little black things on. So I just wanted to show how I did that. It's super simple. And then I've got, I don't know if I had this guy last time, but I finished him up. Luke Cage, and I put a little bit of leaf litter down, so I'm going to show you how I made that, and then how to apply it. So like super simple things. My super exciting Wolverine. That was a lot of fun to do.
Winter gear Wolverine.
What's that?
Nice. Winter gear Wolverine with the long sleeves.
Yeah. I've got Pyro. Pyro came out really cool. Super stoked on him, and he's a different yellow than Wolverine. So I think it had started the same yellow, but it just changed over time.
It looks like he's got some soot on him, which makes sense, which checks out.
Yeah. So, actually, the flame, I filmed the making of the flame for this month's Miniature Monthly video. So that'll be cool. And then, it was funny. So I finished him up, and he was on a pin that I was holding to paint him. And so I was watching some YouTube videos and trying to take the pin out. And usually I just bend the pin and twist it, you know? And so I started doing that. Well, I forgot that he's just got this tiny little ankle, and I literally twisted his foot off. So I'm like spinning this thing while I'm watching videos, and then all of a sudden I have two pieces in my hand. I was so bummed, but luckily, I mean, you can't really tell. And I'm gonna put a newspaper stuck to his leg, so you really can't tell. And then I've got my who's this guy? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking.
Black Panther?
Black Panther.
Black Panther, yeah. My favorite character, Black Panther. Totally forgot his name. And so, I don't know. I was just super bored while I was painting him, so I looked up a bunch of different outfits online, and he actually has the lines sculpted in him, but they're really, really faint and hard to see. So I just painted those lines in, and there was one picture where it was actually more silver. So I just thought that would break up his outfit a little bit more. So I did a crazy thing like that. Yeah. He is actually super rad to play with in the game. He's awesome. His rules are super killer.
Yeah,
so, and then cool.
His rules are so good.
Yeah. I didn't realize it the whole time because my buddy kept saying, "Oh, you get to re-roll that," or "Oh, that counts as a hit or a defense." And I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. But then I realized blanks are good for him, at least until he dies, and then they're not good. But and then I've got my other Captain America, so my whole team is good to go, ready to go. So, anyways, I'm gonna show you. I've got some PVA glue on my palette here. It's almost dried out, but I'll put some water in it and make it wet again. And what I've got is basically I went online and I just looked up newspapers. Doesn't really matter what they are. You can't really tell what they say once they're printed out. So I just printed a whole bunch of them out on a piece of paper, and I actually used these for another game, Zombicide, a long time ago, but I had a ton of them printed out. So it's kind of cool. You can take your newspapers and you can kind of just crinkle them up. This is also like if you're like, you could go and paint these, but it would take forever. And if you're just doing it for gaming like we are, no way. So just printing them out is perfect. And so I get them into like little crumpled up newspaper, like trash debris. And that's what we can glue to our bases. So if I get like, if you notice with Black Panther, he's got even tinier pieces back here by the gutter. And I just like crinkled them up and kind of stuck them in there, like crammed them in there. So you can kind of see that there's something on them, but who really cares? It's just like trash in the gutter. That mixed with my debris, and then I've got a bigger newspaper up in front. So pretty cool.
Wait, what kind of paper do you use again?
Just paper.
Just regular paper, and you just cut little. You print out little pieces, and then
printing paper.
Oh, wait, how do you print them up on the wall?
Well, you go into Photoshop and you resize them to really small.
Okay.
So,
oh, wait, and you said you dip them in PVA glue, right?
Yeah, so I'm gonna put a little PVA glue on them, and it seems like that works pretty good. And then you just squeeze it in there, stick them to the ground. And I found they don't really fall off or anything. So having like little pieces of paper like that is pretty cool. But then I was thinking, what might be really cool on these ones that there's like explosions and stuff. What if that paper was flying around? So.
Oh, or on fire?
Or on. Well, I'm not gonna put it. Yeah, I could just light it on fire right there in the middle of the game. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I'd root for that. Yeah, definitely do it.
Nothing wrong with that. Little fake fire going on.
Hardcore MCP.
Yeah.
I think we'll get kicked out of Adepticon, but I like where we're going, boys. Keep going.
Hey, we'll never get to do these games again. I wonder. Oh, what if it was like coming off part of the explosion up here? I would have to paint a little bit on the paper, but that might be okay. I mean, shoot.
Yeah. I love this model design, by the way, Dallas. Like it's like
one of my favorites.
Putting it together, I was like, this is not gonna work. It's not gonna stand up, but it does somehow.
Which one? Oh,
Captain America.
Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
I love that matchup.
Best figure in your whole line.
Got him. Got him.
Actually, I say that about a lot of the figures, but okay, so I'm gonna let this one start drying. This guy, his leg, basically I had to put putty right in the middle part right here of his ankle. So I'm going to, you could possibly see that. So I think if I have like, if it's kind of a windy day and newspapers are flying, maybe I use that as a little cover up. Let's go. So I got that, and then I'm gonna. Oh. Okay. All right. Let's see if this works. So the question is which way to have it wrapping around, but. You know how like it's like super windy on the streets of New York and paper gets stuck on somebody's feet? Yeah. What if that happened here?
I think they made a song about that. Like, New York, my windy city, gets the newspaper wrapped around my leg.
Yeah, I think that was a hit song somewhere.
Yeah,
if it doesn't work, I can just pull it back off, and who cares? But we'll see what happens.
Skyscraper off drops, yeah.
I've been to New York. It is pretty windy. It could also be Chicago. That would probably make even more sense. But
it's true.
You know what's the windiest city I've ever been in is Wellington in New Zealand. That is a windy city. It's like really vertical, super vertical as well. I don't know.
Does it have a lot of? What makes it so windy? Like just where, like
well,
like
it's it's between it's basically right between the two islands.
Oh, okay.
So I think the wind just like is funneled straight through there, you know, and then the only thing there's nothing blocking it for thousands of miles of ocean around there too, so that wind gets going.
Good news with paper. Sometimes it doesn't crinkle the way you want it to, but hey, what are you gonna do, right? All right.
We're exploring ideas. I like it.
Yeah.
Calfree says cities created with high rises and a straight wind tunnel since there's a straight shot through narrow corridors. Also prevents tornadoes, apparently. Somehow.
Nice. We just watched a whole documentary on tornadoes. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Was it called Twisters?
Yeah.
Or
it just came out. It was about that town that got annihilated, and like all the people. Really? It's a pretty harrowing story. Like it's pretty wild what those people went through.
Like where were the towns?
It was in Kansas, I think.
Kansas, gotcha. Oh, the Twister.
It was in Missouri.
It is called the Twister. I thought you were making a joke.
Jasper, Missouri? I don't know. Liz is probably
Missouri is just on the other side of the river from Kansas.
Yeah. Right. Gonna grab some water. We'll be back.
Yeah, those things are no joke. For sure.
You're from Missouri, right, Dallas?
Yes, sir.
Do you ever have any run-ins with tornadoes down there?
Yes, sir.
The show me state.
We have my family has a picture somewhere. It's a Polaroid of us all standing on the front porch with a Twister in the background because we went outside to pose with it. Look at the Twister.
Yeah, my wife's from Iowa and went to school in Kansas City. Or no, in Kansas, not Kansas City, but so she's had some run-ins with the tornadoes. Takes it very seriously.
Yeah. So do I.
Yeah.
I know the Joplin, Missouri area, and I know that tornado that I know that tornado. We talked about that tornado in school.
Joplin, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a for real situation.
Yeah, it was, dude. It like wiped out their high school. Went right through the middle of town. Basically, it was.
Yep.
It was wild.
Patron has a question for, I guess, Saul. What do you like to? Do you like to paint cold or warm colors, and what are some challenges associated with them?
Well, I mean, I like to paint all the colors. So, yeah, I mean.
Wait. Do you find? Okay, his question is, what do you guys find easier or enjoy painting more? Warmer or colder colors? What do you enjoy painting more? Or both, whatever. What are some challenges with them?
I think my favorite colors are like teal and stuff, so I guess that would be cold. Just off of that's my favorite color. But yeah, I like both. I mean, usually I put them both in a color scheme to kind of balance out some stuff, so
yeah, I mean, I think I also paint both, and a lot of times, yeah, you want warm and cold colors in the color scheme because then you can use the contrast between them to make effects. But yeah, I can't say that I have a preference between them.
I do, although I do find that I tend to gravitate more towards general colder paint schemes, because I feel like, I don't know, it's more dramatic or something. Whereas, yeah.
Yeah, a recent piece that I did, me and a bunch of our friends, we did 3-hour speed paints on this one bust, and I was painting in like these desaturated jewel tones on it, And I'd never really painted using those colors in all these years, so it was really fun to do that. So I don't know. Anytime you can expand your color repertoire and try to figure out how they work, what combinations and everything, it's a good day. Anytime you can do something new. I guess I could show you guys what the model I'm talking about.
Are you saying every day is a good day when you paint?
Yep. Yeah. You know, Bob Ross was onto something there.
That Hulk Buster is so big.
Yeah, I was kicking myself for a second that I chose him, but at the same time, it's awesome. So
yeah, he's really cool looking. Hey Dallas, just for future reference later in the stream, how much of Phoenix can you show? Can you show like the details of Phoenix close up?
Yeah. How much can we show?
Whoa, that's cool. There you go. Soft low. That's pretty detailed. It's pretty sweet.
Nice.
And I'll show you this one too.
Oh, the big one. Big girly.
Ooh, cool. I like that one even better.
Yeah,
paint that.
Yeah, that Phoenix like flame burst is like sweet. Looks properly flamey.
You get the impression that it's like blasting outwards.
Yeah, like the motion is nice.
Yeah, that was like the big thing, right? It's like once again that silhouette, right? This one is a little softer. The wings kind of curve around her. They're a little more. She's in control. And then this is more like Phoenix Unleashed, right? Like the power has overwhelmed her, and everything is just energetic. That silhouette, everything is energetic, emanating from her core, right? And that's the story we wanted to tell. And then the ground is like just being ripped apart. You know, there's chunks of concrete,
awesome.
chunks of concrete and stuff in there. Like she's just catastrophic, right? So that pose sketch is like that was very much there. Like those lines were because once again that silhouette conversation. How do we make that silhouette and then stylize it in the flames?
Yeah, that's cool. Back to your bases, Aaron. Did you so are you just adding details onto your base?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna paint more of the base, or is it what do you
yeah, pretty much just adding details to it. Maybe I'll add some stuff that, maybe a little bit more weathering or something here and there, but they're basic MCP bases, let's put them that way. But I can also add in a little bit of like leaf litter, and I'm using, those little acorn seeds that everyone uses for leaves, but they're like too big. They're the wrong scale for everything. But if you chop them up, I took them. It was like I took a X-Acto knife and I just chopped them up into little smaller pieces, and I can use that to kind of put in here to my gutters and stuff. And it just looks like debris, basically. I did use, and this company's not around anymore. Secret Weapon Miniatures used to sell different types of birch, so there's different colors, and so I kind of made my own hodgepodge mix of like different colors. So it's not all just brown or something. It's like kind of oranges and reds and yellows and all that stuff. So it just kind of gives you a.
Yeah, you can just soak them in like watered down paint to do that. I'm pretty sure that's what they did.
Yeah, yeah, you probably could.
To just dye them? Matt?
Yeah, they just get dyed. Yeah, you turn it into a product, but you could just do it yourself pretty easily.
Is that just PVA glue? Do you water it down?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit watered down. This particular PVA glue is a little bit thin. Like, I don't know where I got it, but it seems thinner than even Elmer's. Normally I thin it down a little bit, but this stuff's already super wet. which could also mean that it's like sort of separated in the container. But hey, whatever.
Chimera Paints likes Dallas's flame effect, and Striker asked Aaron if you're gonna paint some burned edges on the paper.
Yeah, I definitely need to like the paper's like perfectly clean right now. If I was smart before I cut all those papers up, it probably would have been good to airbrush them. That would have helped things out a little bit, but I can always just add a little bit of wash. I brought some wash with me to the table, so and even in a city type area, you're gonna have leaves. You're gonna have leaves and all that stuff. So I mean, it's not weird. It's almost weird not to have it in some ways. So. Do another paper over here. So this just kind of like adds a little bit of life to your bases and stuff. Like people actually live in the city. It's not just superheroes fighting all the time. Contrary to popular belief.
There's a crisis going on.
Yeah, there is a crisis. So we got that. Let's do.
So Scott says, Aaron, I'm telling you, just use matte varnish. Oh, I was like, I don't know what varnish is Matt's varnish, but I know, Aaron.
Yeah, I'll pass.
It's still a Matt supply.
I've messed up too many models with varnishes and stuff. Like
Oh, really? Do you not matte varnish your figures at all, even if it's a little shiny?
Nope.
Just leave them a little shiny.
I try to control my sheen as I go.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's harder, but I mean, if something's like super shiny, don't get me wrong, I'll grab some matte varnish or something and try to fix it. But yeah. Otherwise, also a lot of times when you have a lot of subtle color variations and stuff, it will erase them. So you kind of did all that work and then you matte varnish them away.
Yeah.
Some people use it to get their blend smoother, but you might as well just learn how to blend smoother and not worry about your colors wrecked.
Oh, because matte, it just kind of like fuzzes stuff up.
Yeah, like sometimes colors just go away completely. I've actually had a couple students like ruin their models with matte varnish. Super blend.
You know what kind of matte varnish you're using? Because that happened with Krylon. I was using some Krylon on like a game board, and then it just like erased all of the washes and stuff.
Who is it? Tester's Dull Coat is arguably the best, and it will do it.
There's definitely a sweet spot. That's the one I use as well.
Yeah.
Testers?
I've never had anything get messed up, but I use testers. Yeah.
I guess I hang around in like crowds that paint a lot of armies and stuff too, and I've just seen like entire armies turn white. And
what?
Yeah,
I've had it. Yeah,
but big time, like I've had it happen to me too, where like your subtle highlights will just go away, like they're just gone. And I like it's strange how the dull coat does that, but.
Have you had that issue with Vallejo varnish?
I don't use a whole lot of Vallejo. I've got the AK Ultra Matte. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm too lazy to repaint stuff if it gets messed up. So I think that's part of the problem, my fear of messing up what I've done. And it's not just an unfounded fear. Like I've seen it happen. I've had it happen to me. I had a friend do highlights on a model. It took him like a week because it was a really big 4-year-old miniature. And then he dull coated it, and all like 2 layers of highlights went like were gone, and
Oh,
he was
no.
so bummed he sold his army. So
What?
yeah,
Oh,
it was
no.
just it was game over at that point. He was like, yeah, it was just
Wow.
it just killed his hobby. Don't get me wrong, he still had like 14 armies, but you know that particular army was just done at that point, and I was like, oh man, I'm never doing that again. But
Yeah, that's scary, yo.
and then part of it was my first mentor was Jeremy Bonamont, and his whole thing was like he never used any kind of dull coat or anything for protection, basically because it has the chance of erasing what you did. And he was doing a lot of stuff that was like really intricate and all that stuff. So I just kind of, you know, after I heard that and then saw like all my friends getting jacked up miniatures because of dull coat, I was just like, you know what, I think I'm good, like, you know. But if I do get in a spot where it's like it's too shiny for some reason, like maybe I used inks or something, it just kind of got out of hand, you know, I'll do some brush on dull coat, or I'll airbrush it because but even with that, I've had things turn white, like even brushing it on. So I don't know. It depends on how old the varnish is.
It's like how thickly it's applied is usually what it is.
Yeah,
But
maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, I like dilute my, like I use Vallejo. It works pretty good. I dilute it and then I airbrush it. It's been okay. But I hear you. It's kind of like
if it works, and I know other people that they use it mainly to make their blends better, because it
really,
kind of,
I didn't realize they did that.
It obscures things.
Yeah, it kind of creates a better transition between two colors.
I've never noticed it doing that, but I do a pretty thin layer. I do it to unify the finish, so it's like a single finish over the whole piece. Especially since I use artist acrylics, so some of them have a little bit of a sheen to them.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I get that too. So it's, you know, I try to, I'm really boring. I just try to use my gaming acrylics and whatever.
I use a ton of ink, so I feel like I have to, or else it's like way too shiny.
I use inks at the end.
Some of these like game acrylics though, like you'll put the paint on, and because it has that ultra matte finish in the paint itself, when it dries, it changes color when it dries, and like I can't handle it.
Yeah, it'll look blotchy sometimes, or yeah, like the finish is weird.
No, it will literally like it will look saturated when you apply it, and then it just like loses its saturation as it dries and looks different.
Yeah.
So, you know, that I don't want. Yeah.
It's all good times. But it's like anything else. Everyone has their own little theories or whatever, and whatever works for you is the way you should do. So
yeah, I agree with that.
So that's why I'm never like totally like you should never use that, because I know a lot of, well, obviously you guys use matte varnishes and, you know, with good effects. So, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. But it's always interesting hearing other people's experiences, you know?
Yeah. For sure.
Let's see. Kelfrey says, well, okay, let's go. Scott says, no, dude, use matte varnish, attach a leaf scatter. Okay.
I put my matte varnish on with a leaf blower.
Tay says, she uses Liquitex matte varnish if you're gonna varnish it all and brush it on. Don't like spray varnishes. Can you airbrush that stuff on? I'm sure it's Liquitex, right? So you should be able to airbrush it.
So is that the one that comes in the really, like, the big jars? Like it's a big fat jar from like Michael's or something? Because we had bought some matte varnish and gloss varnish, and it's like super thick, but when you thin it and put it through your airbrush, it is the best airbrushing varnish out there.
Okay.
I know.
Interesting.
I got a can of it somewhere. Because gloss varnish is notoriously bad. Like when you airbrush it, a lot of times it will go matte, or it does gloss and matte at the same time, which is really annoying. And
why do you want to airbrush gloss varnish though? What are you using it for?
Well, dude, if you have a Titan and you're trying to get it glossed, To put like
for protection.
Yeah, not all of us paint just small figures, Anthony. But like if you're doing decals and you need to gloss varnish it before you put the decal on, and then gloss varnish it after, it's way easier to airbrush that on. And we found that like most gloss, even the ones made for airbrushes, go on very unevenly. So like part of it will be matte and part of it will be gloss, and that's not good when you're trying to get even gloss surface. So once we got that particular matte and gloss varnish, and it was just regular like hobby paint, from Michael's, it was amazing. And like at first I was like, there's no way this is going to work. It's too thick. But as soon as you thin it, it airbrushes and paints perfectly. So I don't know. It's like, that's cool. You learn something new every day.
The other thing you can use gloss varnish for, Anthony, is like, well, I actually use like semi-gloss black primer.
Okay.
It will make the surface like really smooth. And then when you do like your white pre-shading, if you're shooting it through the airbrush, it will come out like butter, like buttery smooth blends. Yeah, the blends will be super smooth because of the gloss underneath. It's a little trick you can do.
Is it because it just covers over some of the imperfections of the surface?
Yeah. It will just make that surface like extra smooth, so when you spray it on, it will like everything is even smoother. But yeah, it's not gonna like cover details and stuff like that. But what it will do is just like it just makes, because the surface is smoother, the blend of the airbrush will come out even smoother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But that trick is generally, you have to be able to spray like white really smooth. So I use Tamiya flat white for that.
Yeah.
That's way better than like white ink or something like that.
You water it down with solvent though?
Yeah, I have to use solvent. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Tamiya is water based, but it's actually closer to the solvent based paint.
No, it's if you're shooting it through your airbrush, you're using solvent, but you can just clean things with water.
Yeah. But it does thin better with solvents.
Yeah, so I spray in my garage. I don't need to do it in my house.
Yeah,
because that stuff. Yeah, it's got like MEK and all sorts of.
You don't want that in your lungs?
Like that, no. No, I don't even teach the airbrush because I don't want to breathe that stuff in at all. So.
Yeah.
It's bad for you.
I like it.
But sometimes people will be like, "Oh, I'm not shooting solvents, but I'll never shoot solvents." But then you find out that they shoot like isopropyl alcohol. They mix isopropyl alcohol, and that stuff is toxic too. Like you're like isopropyl alcohol turns into acetone in your body if you breathe it in or drink it, but so
yeah, I always use a respirator when I do that.
Yeah. You use a respirator, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah. All right, Aaron, we're gonna switch over in like about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
Cool.
Let me show you how I do the. So basically, I take some still water effects. This is for making the black lines in the street. So the little when you have they fix asphalt.
Yeah.
And they have that little machine that does a thin little black line.
Never seen that before, but
you will go look at your streets outside, and there'll be the black lines covering all the cracks.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Feeling.
But I've never seen them actually do it.
Oh, so, you haven't? Oh, no. Man.
Hey, you're missing out, dude.
Yeah, you're totally missing out. It's that Chicago lifestyle, man. They're all super cool. So here's my water effects. If you can get like a thicker gel medium, it's even better. But I don't have that, so I'm just going to use the water effects. It's still on the thick range, and then I just take black paint and I mix it in. And you don't want to put too much water effects in because then your black paint will be see-through. But at the same time, you probably end up doing it a couple times anyways. But basically, I just load the paintbrush up like you wouldn't normally do for regular painting, and you just drag it along, and you just let it unload as thick of amount of paint as possible in that area. And then maybe
you mix with water effect, or just to get it like more viscous?
Yeah, to just be thicker. It's like kind of like if you're using that gloss, putting gloss on thick. Now it will dry thinner, obviously, but you can come back and do it again. The other thing is this is now glossy. It's super glossy. And that those when they do that asphalt repair, it's like a glossy black asphalt that goes on top of the street.
Yeah.
At least at first. Because it's brand new and the other stuff isn't. So put that out, and maybe this one goes all the way to there. It has one that comes off this way because that rock fell on the street. But the cool thing is you can do this, let it dry, and then come back and put another layer on top, or maybe a couple times. So like maybe, while you're doing other stuff, just come back and re-hit it. And it gives you that little asphalt repair thing without doing really anything else. It's, it's smoke and mirrors basically, but the thickness of the paint will like let it reflect a little bit, and it's kind of cool. So you see on like on my Hulk, that was the first one I ever did that on, and I think it came out pretty good. And if you see it up close, it is actually a little bit raised. So pretty nifty, but
yeah, I like that.
Yep. So that's my little additions to my gaming bases. Nothing too crazy, but I have thought about sculpting my own bases for this, and then I was like, I don't have time to do that. So anyways, I had to really think about that one if I sculpted bases, but although I could have had them all like magnetized and stuff, so that would have been fun. But yeah, so that's basically it. Just putting like some leaf litter on there. I can also come back in and like take some wash, and if I wanna tone down the leaf litter, and or just put a little bit of dirt onto these papers. Kind of wipe it around a little bit so it just they don't look perfect, All that stuff kind of works. Maybe put them around the edges. If anything's like in a gutter, it would definitely be all dirty and stuff. Like, who knows? Maybe somebody just dropped their newspaper on the street, so it's not all dirty, but I think it looks better if they're at least a little bit dirty. I have a feeling this dude's paper is going to fall off his leg, but actually I kind of like it. I don't know. Looks goofy, but looks like he's out on a windy day. So
yeah, I think it looks cool, man.
And then I've got this other stuff that's petroleum brown from Monument, and that's a Bin Comets color. I think it's just supposed to look like oil, but it's kind of it's shiny and it's a little bit see-through. So like if I've got an area like this, I can take one brush and apply it. Basically, we'll just do the two brush blend. Apply it with one brush and take the second brush and kind of feather it out the edge. And then it makes it look like in this gutter, it's like actually wet. Because maybe there's a little bit of water in there. Dirty water. It's always better when it's dirty water.
Nice.
And then if you want to put a couple, little dots on the street here and there for like oil slicks or something, you could do that as well. So pretty easy effects. Maybe on Black Widow, I'll put a big old blob right here, and then just use the second brush to kind of feather it out on both sides, but keep it solid in the middle. And then it just looks like there's some sort of oil slick on the pavement.
That's that contrast color that you're using?
No,
or is
it's the Pro Curls Petroleum Brown. So I haven't been able to use it yet, and this seemed like a good spot to use it. So
Nice.
it's all good.
Nice.
Like even I can take it on the Hulk, do the same thing. Actually, I wish I had this when I painted the Hulk the first time. So just kind of put it in that. And it just looks like wet. It's like water's in there. You'll put a little bit here in the potholes in the middle of the street. And it just gives it a little bit of shininess, and looks like it's got some dirty water or something in there. So yeah, so that's that. That's my stuff. That's
cool.
So who's next? Anthony,
Very
you're
cool.
next.
I am next. No, those are good tips. I might add some shiny brown water on some of my bases.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am next. All right.
All
Let me
right.
switch.
Anthony Cam. Oh, there we go.
Yay. All right. So I thought that since my stuff is mostly done, that I just talk through my experiences painting my X-Force, and just just some thoughts. Maybe I'll start with the bases. I think just to continue Aaron's topic a bit. So I took a different approach to do bases. Instead of adding a lot of different details, I sculpted these extra pieces of rock or pavement or whatever over there. And I wanted to keep the bases a bit more, I guess not as much information, right, on them, and kind of keep them all pretty much similar, kind of like teal color.
Gotcha.
For pavement, it's kind of different and kind of a little bit unique. Just because I felt that my reasoning for that was, like, the X-Force, they don't really have a uniform color scheme. You have like Honey Badger in her yellow jumpsuit. You got like Deadpool in his
everyone's all over the
red
place.
and the blue stuff. So I thought at least like the base could tie everyone in a little bit together, and having it be something that kind of stands out could help with that, right?
Yeah, I like the green bases.
I like those green bases. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? And this is like something I like to do with my bases is I like to have it be like a like a complementary color, or something that like contrasts a bit. But then to desaturate it by either making a tertiary color, so mixing other colors in there so that it doesn't look like a pure color, or add some desaturate some grays and things like that, and then you get a colored base that's not super distracting. So yeah, so that's what the base is. I'll talk about Honey Badger first, and if anyone wants to see hear me talk about some other of my figures, like, let me know in the chat, or let me know, guys, what you think. But I love Honey Badger. She's like hilarious. And I wasn't like with the original figure. She was cool, and she's like skinny and cool, but like. It was this Honey Badger with this particular costume that really, and maybe it's because of the episode. I mean, the issue in the comic that I really fell in love with Honey Badger. She's just a funny little kiddo. And so my friend was like, "Hey," In Young, he's like, "Hey, you should like just convert her." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And I love those goggles, so and so with these goggles specifically.
These nuts.
One sec.
Got him! Got him!
They were actually just I'm sorry. Autofocus is not seem to be working today. So.
It hates you.
Yeah.
So
right,
quick question while you're figuring that out. Were you really angry at Dallas secretly because he didn't, you didn't make the version of Honey Badger that you liked, and your anger turned into a conversion, or?
I was like, Dallas is so not thoughtful,
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't talk to any of us about it.
Seriously.
I'm the worst.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think what's cool about these figures that you can actually make some conversions, and they work out really nicely, so I just sculpted 2 little discs, for goggles and painted the 3D effects, and then sculpted a little hair clip, and I think that this is some of these elements on Honey Badger came about after I posted my post in the Facebook group, and people just gave their thoughts. So it's kind of fun to kind of crowdsource some ideas sometimes and see, collaborate, get some ideas and see if you can push the boundaries of what you think you can do. Like I wouldn't have made these like drawstrings, if it wasn't for, I think it was, I forget. I think it was Jason that suggested it. So, and I was gonna use like wire, but the wire is too thick. So then using fishing line that worked out. So it was pretty cool. Also getting feedback from your friends is helpful. Getting Matt's kind of Matt and gave him some ideas about how to weathering this not trash can, this post office post mailbox, USPS mailbox, and I think it looks pretty sweet with like the faded paint on top and kind of like that dirt on the bottom there and some of that rust. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I like kind of like that faded look is pretty sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, and then so I think after hearing you talk, Aaron, I might have to weather the little poster that I painted here. Let me see if I can get that in focus.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I was just like, I don't know if I can execute a little muty poster on this little mailbox,
It's like the smallest thing ever.
It's super small. I mean, for scale. Let me see if I can get some focus. What is wrong with this? Here we go. All right. There you go. All right. So it's like the scale is like it's like the teeniest thing, But I feel like this is something you just kind of have to experiment and push yourself. I don't think I painted a freehand this small before with this much detail. But I was really inspired by by some old school. I think these were like comic book like ads in the Marvel comics in the 80s, where they had like you don't know which kid is really a mutant, So then it had this like sweet little boy and just has muty written on top of them, just kind of some hate propaganda that I feel like, and it's fitting that that Honey Badger chopped down that mailbox and it's on top of it, So yeah, so it's a nice little Easter egg, I think.
That would be cool in the game if she could throw herself with the mailbox and like,
Honey Badger 2.
Yeah.
Dallas.
Oh, you're taking a wound.
Yeah. Anyways, that's Honey Badger.
Very cool.
Hell yeah, Honey Badger.
Yo.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite figures that you did for this.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, you can see the love.
Yeah, it's when you get inspired, and it comes out. I think it's a special thing. So thanks for making these miniatures, Dallas.
Thanks for loving them.
Yeah, dude.
Boy.
All right, who should I talk about next?
Somebody.
How about Warlock? Warlock's weird.
There you go.
He's a weird dude. You know, I think like Warlock. This was another figure that like I think he's a bit tricky to paint, you know, because he's got a lot of details and a lot of people want to paint him like the version where he's black and then the lines are gold or yellow or something, you know. And I think I don't know, like trying to think about how I would do that would be like really super hard. It'd be super like precise, and given how thin it is, it breaks up the surface of the figure a bit too much, I think, and you lose the overall volume. So instead, I opted to go for the version of Warlock where he's gold. Actually, he's just like mostly gold,
Yeah.
and the lines are actually black. And I think that turned out pretty good because then you can then it's easier to paint the volumes of the shapes in that non-metallic vibe look, but still add a lot of that dark black roundness to give him that like unstable silhouette thing. That's part of his character. So that's Warlock.
I really was interested in, and I'm glad you chose to talk about that one because, we've talked about designing miniatures and, earlier we were talking about like how to make them approachable for painters. And that was one where you look at the comic design and the comic design is so two-dimensional.
Yeah,
like, like everything that works about that. It's kind of like the character like Havoc or Sunspot, right? Like these are characters that have these effects that are so vital to their personality and their design, their aesthetic, and their silhouette. But it's very two-dimensional. Like Havoc, a lot of times is drawn with like these negative space concentric circles that cut his body. Well, I can't do that in miniature, right? Sunspot has those Kirby crackles and that come off of him. And as much as we've tried, I cannot crack the code on Kirby Crackle in 3D. And we have tried probably 20 different versions of Kirby Crackle.
Really? So you actually tried it?
Yeah, of course. You gotta try stuff and see where it goes. And
yeah, no, that's cool. But maybe show some Sunspot. I mean, I really like the design of Sunspot. He's like super cool. But he also is hard to think about how to approach painting him because when he powers up, he's just like
he's solid black. Like empty black, like absorbing all light black.
Right. So he was a challenge too. But I think part of what I love about painting MCP is that you get to I like to challenge myself on how to translate this 2D art into a 3D object, and Sunspot wasn't easy either, but I do really like the design of him, how he's like flying and he's being supported by his like sunblast thing, and also the just how his his energy blast is breaking up all that like concrete is like super cool. I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's super cool. Yeah, he's tricky because I don't know. Like I opted to not go straight black because it's hard to paint the volumes in a readable way, right? If it's just all like in the absence of light. So I decided to go with kind of just a grayscale vibe instead. One sec. Yeah, like a grayscale vibe. That hopefully can that still sells the fact that he's like he's just black, right? And have a little bit of fire on his head just to sell that effect of that there's some fire associated with his blackness, I guess. But what I found was tricky is to do the OSL on him. You know, like I feel like on other tricky, it was tricky trying to get the OSL on the blue, especially. You know, and that yellow light. I probably could. I think I probably need to do a bit more work on him to try to get it more convincing. But this is what I came up with thus far.
You want to talk about your cable?
Oh yeah, we can talk about cable. Yeah.
It's just that energy shield is always so cool on the model. It's like one that I'd like to paint sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, the energy shield is a really cool design. Yeah, it's super cool. So when I was thinking about cable, I like to go through and read as much of the comics as I can, you know, of different characters, and then try to get a feel for the character, use different art as inspiration. And I really love the version of Cable where his guns are just like ridiculously huge, you know, just like so big, you know. So and these guns are really easy to convert. I just like stuck. These are just like paintbrush like plastic tube things, and just different. And I just like stuck them on, and they're pretty. And they kind of filled in the insides with some putty. So I could drill holes in it so you can see like the little like gun holes, whatever, barrel holes. And then this is just a plastic card wrapped over like some plastic tube. And so you kind of have that like 90s Lee Field like vibe on a gun. In terms of like trying to figure out like a dramatic lighting situation for Cable, I really love the art where he has like this core shadow on his face that really accentuated his like bionic eye. And so I was trying to get that to work, which means you have to create this core shadow on this whole front side, you know. And so I think that it was tricky to get all the lighting consistent, and it isn't consistent, right? Like I would have to have this hit this side of his body his left side of his body much darker, you know? But then it's hard to. You okay, Matt? Yeah. You all right, buddy?
Yeah. Sorry.
He's pulling through.
Yeah, it was really hard, you know, and I think that it's not super consistent, you know, because I didn't want to have like half of his body facing, you know, facing the viewer like completely in the dark, but I still wanted his face to be in the shadow. So his face is in the shadow more than his body is, you know, but I don't know, I still think it kind of works okay.
It works.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Creative license. Yeah. Well, as long as you think so, Dallas, I'm happy with it.
I think it works.
Yeah. And thanks, man. And I wanted to I wanted to paint that like Lee Field like non-metallic metal, you know, it's like very like pastel-y colors, you know, pastel blues and purples.
So pastel.
I couldn't make it. I couldn't get it to work on the scale, you know. So I just ended up like, all right, fine, I'll just do blue, and I won't put in the purples and stuff like that. But just like a kind of a chrome 90s chrome look, you know, on his arms. I think, yeah, it was pretty cool. Yep, and fire effect inspired by Aaron's fire painting. So thank you for that.
Does the explosion come with the miniature, or is that something extra you added?
Oh no, this comes with it. Okay. Yeah, at first I thought I might want to make it like dust, you know, like green dust.
Yeah, it makes more sense that like a bomb just blew up right there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So when I saw her Sam Wilson, I was like, wait, maybe it's an explosion, not just dust.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there you go. You can be inspired by other people's work and give you other ideas. It's all good. And I guess this his little there's like some kind of ripples on this energy thing.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's actually sculpted, but then you can intensify it a bit.
Right.
I might paint more ripples in later on. If I end up like getting this to like a competition level, I might do that. But it'd be kind of fun to do.
Yeah, that would be super sick.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that like competition stuff, you just kind of wanna tighten everything up, but also add more complexity in your painting, and I think that would be a good way to do it for this video.
That's an interesting topic right there. Is like taking something that's like, you know, high tabletop, low display, and how to just, well, what are the steps to take that to that competition high display?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Dallas? It's an interesting question.
I mean, I think you kind of nail it. It's like, okay, well, refine, define, push the envelope on what you've done, right?
Yeah.
Like exaggerate, you know, be more purposeful in the overarching idea, and make sure all the elements are treated. You know, Matt said something earlier, like, I'm not going to paint the back as good as the front. And then like, well, once you start moving up to display and competition, it's like, well, the back's got to be as good as the front. The boot's got to be as good as the face, right? The pouch has got to be as good as the gun.
Yeah. And I think Domino's a good example. Like, she's probably the roughest. I mean, Warlock's kind of rough too. Maybe just not as refined, but she's definitely not that refined. But I think she still works because the overall character is still there, right? And like kind of like the main directional lighting, and there's some reflections are still there, which sells the effect without having to really refine it a whole ton.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So she's like decent, but you can tell like she's like it's not really blended very well, and the paint's a little rough in some areas. But yeah, I think she still works. Any requests? I'll do one more, and then we'll switch over to Dallas.
Skriker says, I mean, I always paint the back better. That's what I get to see the most. I'm totally with you on that. Who cares what your opponent sees? Like, you should be able to see the best part of your miniature, and if that's the back, that's what it is.
Yeah. Let's see. Maybe I'll do Psylocke.
Yeah, let's see the Psylocke.
Yeah, Psylocke is cool. This is where I feel like her energy effect is actually cut pretty cool. I think you guys did a really good job on that, you know?
And once again, it's trying to interpret something that's drawn the same way from every angle.
And you started painting that on one of our previous streams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you want to check that out, it should be up on the YouTube.
Yeah, the Miniature Monthly YouTube channel. It's a playlist for this.
Yeah. And her energy, her psychic blade thing also does have those like black circles, right? Or some white circles, you know? And
yeah.
I was trying to do it. I don't think it was kind of hard to do. I tried many different ways to do it, but you know, but at least trying to get that black outline with the energy inside, right? Like kind of what Matt was talking about before, right? Having the glow be white, but then having around the glow be that saturated pink magenta color kind of sells that glowy effect a bit, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I really love Psylocke's design. I mean, just her character is really cool, but that like latex suit thing that she's wearing, and with the her energy psychic blade, it gives you a lot of options on playing with like bounce lights and different OSL things. So it makes for a very fun figure to paint. You get to go to town on like all the different reflections, and she's super fun. And you get to treat the suit like NMM in a way, right?
Yeah.
It's so shiny. Yeah, and it's been really super sweet.
Yeah,
and her pose is really cool.
Everybody loves psychic ninjas.
Yep.
Yeah. Can't go wrong psychic ninjas.
Yeah, the magenta with the blue just looks really good. Like it's a banging color scheme there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's an Aaron Lovejoy joint.
Give it more saturation. It goes back to the warm and the cool thing though, because magenta is definitely warmer than the blue, and I mean magenta could be kind of cold too if you wanted it to be, but not next to blue.
Yeah, it's relative, right? Yeah. How cold a color looks is relative.
You see how much those two colors just jump off against each other. Like, it's just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, magenta is like cold compared to red, but compared to blue, it's quite warm.
Yeah. Especially when it starts getting white in it. It starts turning super pink. But I think it was smart too, like how you desaturated the purple in the hair so that like it didn't compete with the, with the blue and the magenta.
Yeah.
Pretty smart.
Yeah. One thing that that's one thing that I've found in a lot of the comic book art is that there's a lot of there's a lot of play on saturation in the coloring, and even within a particular color too, like within the blues, well, her blue is pretty saturated, but like the Jean Grey's blue has a lot of grays in it. I guess it depends on the artist that colors it, but yeah, I find that like there's not as much play on value contrast as much as you would think, so when I first started painting these figures, I would go from white to black, right, in terms of like contrast, the value contrast on the paint. And I realized looking at a lot of comic book art is that the highest value often is not white for some reason, it's just right. And I'm not sure why that is, but yeah. Sorry, Dallas, you were gonna say something, or was that Aaron?
No, I was just agreeing with you. Like you're correct. It's not always the white that goes to the high value.
Yeah, it's interesting why that is. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the style. But so if you're not going to white, you're gonna have to play with other forms of contrast in order to make it read well and for the figure to be defined. So a lot of that would be then I was relying on color contrasts, temperature contrasts, and saturation contrasts to get that pop, and I think Silex is a good example of that.
I think maybe it's because like if a surface is a reflective surface, it shouldn't go to white because like that's like it would indicate a reflection.
If a surface is not reflective or a surface is
not reflective.
Yeah, if the surface is not reflective, yeah.
You don't want to have it go to white because, yeah.
You have a point there because, like, I mean, obviously in print and comics, they do non-metallic metal.
Yeah, exactly.
And so when they do metals, that's when the white comes in. So nothing else goes to white because they don't want you to think it's metallic.
Yeah, or reflective or whatnot. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, relative value. You want to save the highest value for what's the most reflective, I guess. Yeah.
Reflective or something that's casting light or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. And oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Awkwardish Panda. She's one of my favorites as well too. I think she's getting close to like a competition, but I feel like competition painting for me, I'll take like HD, like really close up shots and then magnify it, and then I'll see all the
See
errant
all the mess
brushstrokes.
ups, yeah.
Yeah, oh, there's so many. You know, and I was talking to Patron, right? He's part of our Chicago group.
Mhm.
And he was like, "Hey, what do you think I should do to like refine this piece?" And I was like, "You see all these like little like brushstrokes that like look okay, but when you magnify it, you can see that they're like not smooth or not clean or whatever." And he's like, "Do you really need to do that? Because it's not readable to the eye." And I was like, "Well, it's not readable to the eye, all those little brushstrokes, but what it does is it reads as fuzziness on an edge, you know, and that can help to throw off your definition or readability of a figure, you know. And I think when you're getting to a competition level and you want to paint something impressive, fixing those little parts, right, actually go a long ways and sharpening up the figure.
The funny thing is, I think it does look better to the naked eye. You just don't realize it at first. You know, like when you've got your paint job and you're like, okay, well this is fine, and then you take a picture and it looks like a hot mess. And you're like, well, I mean, in real life I can't see any of that stuff, so who cares? And you're like, okay, that's great. But then if you actually do clean it up, it does look better. Like it's just so perfect, you know. And that's not saying get rid of all your texture. That's not saying do all that stuff. You know, leave texture where you need texture, do all that. But cleaning up your paint job, like I call it, focusing the miniature at the very end, you're just tightening everything up, you know.
Right.
But I'll tell you, the most depressing thing is thinking you're done with a commission or a contest mini, and you go and take those first round of pictures, and you're like, I got another week and a half on this model. Like, this is horrible.
I mean, I've had it go the other way where I can see like things that I feel like I need to do, or
and it doesn't show up in the photo.
It's like not perfect or whatever. But then when I take that photo, it's just like, holy,
it works.
You know, like it just, wow, that looks amazing. Like, and I'm just happy with it.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever happened to me before.
You know that piece, the Prison of Medusa that I painted?
Yeah.
That it was like that. I was like unhappy with it right up to the point that I took the first photos, and then when I saw it on the screen, it was just like,
okay,
oh,
this is working.
Sometimes
it's you, right? Your eyes get tired of looking at it, and it just, no matter how you do, it will never look good.
I think with that one, like, I was striving for something that was too perfect, you know.
Yeah.
And when you take that photo, you look at it, and it's just like, wow, it just kind of is, it works. It doesn't need going too crazy. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anthony, well, are we ready to switch to Matt, or you got
one point I want to make about the thing. One last point about you know, textures and stuff. I think so. This Deadpool's base is kind of like definitely like more like a tabletop base, like where the texture is kind of like, it's not really in scale, right? That you can tell it's a brushstroke and not like some, you know, like texture on concrete. Whereas Honey Badger's base has much more variety of types of brushstrokes and refinement, even though it's a little chaotic. But I think that's, you know, in terms of refinement, that's something that to think about as well too. You know, as you're getting stuff to a higher level.
Yeah, it's kind of the difference.
Okay.
Also, I think that it's easy for people to get lost in. It's like, oh, I need to, you know, do all these details and refinements and stuff, and you could lose track of the contrast itself. Like, you want to have the contrasts on your figure that you decide to use, like, actually do something.
Yeah.
Like, focus.
Yeah. Like, you start with contrast and you end with no contrast. You're like, what the heck happened?
Contrast is more important than details, and that includes on on competition level pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. If everything is to a certain level of detail, then there's no contrast anymore.
I'm pretty much done with my paint job, so if you guys want to see it, and
Yeah,
Okay.
switch over to Matt, and then
Who cares about what Dallas is going to show us? We don't need to see what we're fighting. Like,
That's fine.
No, I want to see what Dallas has to say. This won't take long.
I do like that Dallas has been painting fire all night, and he just has big splotches of green on his palette. Like, how did the green turn like orange and red? That's what I want to know.
I've been painting the Phoenix.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right, so here we got.
So I actually went with this, like, I added yellow, like a really pale yellow, to the lightning bolts, and I think that was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, kind of turned out nice.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So that way the light, the blue light that is like casting, it adds more contrast between the two, and then you can see that dark core shadow in the center and on top of the shapes, and then the same yellowish pale yellow is like her glowing eyes.
Is that bismuth yellow?
Yeah, light bismuth yellow.
Nice.
Yeah,
light bismuth yellow. Yeah, her eyes look cool. Like her skin's like really dark, and she looks. It does feel like she's in a dark environment, lit up by just lightning. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's what we're going for, right?
Very cool.
Matt, I love that you and I think the same thing, because all my blue energy effects are accentuated with a pale yellow.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Some warm, hot, cold contrast there as well too.
Yeah, maybe with a dark background it would look even better if my camera can. It's just good blowing everything out.
I like how the one little electricity is a little dude dancing, or it looks like a little guy dancing.
That's true. So funny.
Yeah, actually you can see the colors better against white. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, that's rad.
Yeah, not bad for a short little paint job. And I think on the tabletop, like, you zoom out to this, and it's just like
cracking.
It grabs your attention, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it was like really fun. Yeah.
Nice work, Matt.
Thanks.
Cool. Right on.
All right.
All right.
Dallas.
We're switching back to Dallas, and we're gonna find out what he's been working on, but then also what we're fighting, because nobody wants to know anything else really, except I would like.
Okay, so I'll show a few things, and then everybody can vote.
Okay.
You want to see my leader, or you want to see my squad?
All right.
So everybody can vote. So what I was working on tonight is obviously the Phoenix.
Yeah, that looks rad.
Jean Grey. And I wasn't working on the fire. I was actually working on her.
Ah, that would explain the green.
I was explaining the green. So, and since I got the paints out, doing both.
That's super cool.
Nice. Really cool.
Doing both. And so I'll do her eyes. Like you can see, I got the black in her eyes. So I'll do those like normal eyes. And her eyes are white because I'll do those like super explosive hot fire.
Gosh, super cool.
And then once I get them done, then I'll do all the fire and her two little fire explosions that come along with her. And then for Adepticon, I think I showed y'all a whip of this.
Yeah, that thing is so cool.
So this is my gallery entry.
I love it.
For like the worthy.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I really wanted to this year really explore that three-dimensionality of our art form. So I think we talked a little bit about this, but I finished this up and just wanted to show it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, go all the way around him.
I love, the idea of getting that like sand worked into the base is really cool.
Going down the plinth.
Yep.
That looks super cool.
Yeah.
There's even a little.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
down
bottom,
there too, yeah.
wow.
Super cool. Did you
You
use
gotta turn it up.
what kind of effect did you use for the dirt?
I just used the earth effects like pumice paste.
Okay, yeah.
over top of sculpted epoxy sculpt because I need an epoxy sculpt to like bulk it out.
Hmm.
All right. So what do we want to see?
Striker wants to see the leader. Who do you want to see, Matt and Aaron?
I want to see all of them.
Yeah, let's check out the.
Let's see the leader first because we got to know what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the leader.
All right. So I gotta preface with this is going to be the game we're going to play is going to be Marvel Crisis Protocol. It's going to be a curated narrative experience. So we are going to use Marvel Crisis Protocol, but the scenario is going to be a bunch of wheeling and dealing.
Oh, is that? What is it?
With somebody making some deals.
Whoa, that's super
So,
cool.
so this is a Mephisto I had made just for our game.
But that's
You cheater! You can't. Wait a second.
disqualified.
Give me the name of all your sculptors.
Wait, but that
Dude, that model's
like,
so
that's
rad.
a conversion?
Like...
Is that a conversion? Because
this is an Atomic Mass Games conversion.
Oh,
Right.
the sculpted you. Nice.
I'm
Because the normal Mephisto was like standing, right?
Normal Mephisto standing.
Yeah.
I needed a special one just to fight you guys.
So he's on like what's it called? He's on the hot seat.
It's pretty cool. Wow, that's awesome.
That is
man.
so cool. Oh my gosh, you got to release that model like that. Like,
Dude.
Yeah,
I would paint a copy of that in a heartbeat.
So the game we're gonna be playing, we're gonna be making a bunch of wheeling and dealings. Everybody's fighting for their souls.
Okay.
And Mephisto's here to like help you get your souls, but you know,
Kill you at the same
maybe
time.
you don't. So
Stuff happens. Yeah.
be prepared for me to offer you things, but I'm gonna take things in return.
Oh.
So if our characters go down, are you gonna put them through a meat grinder and hand the particles back to us?
Oh, we're gonna do.
We gave you these minis.
Iron
We're
Man
taking them
version.
back.
Iron Man Marvel Crisis Protocol. Now be more like
the Hulk
hey
smash.
hey Matt, it's your activation, and I know you're standing right next to one of my characters with a fully powered up, Jean Grey, but I will give you 4 extra power on any character you want if you attack Anthony's character.
Sorry,
Okay.
Anthony.
So I remember the question I had. So we have 10-man squads basically, and are we running all 10 guys at once, or is it like a normal scenario where we pick 18 points and like how is that going to work?
Because y'all did so much. So this is something we talked with Dev about, and when they were creating the scenario and going over what the idea was with you guys, and because y'all did such good work on your squads, we want to make sure you get to play with all your
Right.
mans.
And we don't have 18 hours to do it in either. That's
You only got 2 hours.
Yeah.
You got 2 hours, but your army is no points. You get all 10 characters.
nice. Oh my gosh.
You're not gonna put all 10 on the table at the same time, but you have access in one way or another to all 10 of your characters.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice. Okay.
And nobody's gonna be on the table for very long. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be like squash, squash, squash. That's super rad. Okay.
So I'm gonna give you one of my conversions for my squad.
All right. Oh, that's super sick.
Oh.
That one's right.
Juggernaut,
Oh my
Ghost
gosh.
Rider.
Oh, and I
Sweet.
like the skull face inside.
Dude, that's awesome.
Is
So
that, he's Jugger Rider?
Flaming.
This is my Spirit of Vengeance Juggernaut, because of course Mephisto can hand out the Spirit of Vengeance.
Okay,
Yeah.
that needs to be a figure too.
That's crazy.
These are cosmic Ghost Riders chains. This is actually the fire from Ghost Rider's wheel that I chopped up and added to it. And then I used putty to blend it all together. And I actually got in there and drilled out his face and sculpted a skull inside the helmet.
Nice. That's so cool.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, I want to do that now.
Did you just drill out his like mouth area too to make it like a bigger like?
Yeah.
The mouth area is the same size. I just got in there and I cut off his face out and then sculpted a little skull face in there.
Dude, that's awesome. Dude, that's crazy. So all your guys are sculpted to be like Mephisto-ish, like conversions, like converted.
The other two characters fit in with my squad.
Nice.
That is sick. Striker says, "Can you stop being so cool?" So if you could just stop, Dallas, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely not.
No, those are super cool. I'm super excited now. Oh my gosh.
Greg is asking, when is our game? It's Friday, 2 to 4? 2 to 5?
I think it's 2 to 4 or 1 to 3. I can't remember.
Is
It's
it
2 to 4. I think I saw it today. Yeah.
Is it at the AMG booth?
No, we're gonna be over in the so there's an area where we stream all the Marvel Crisis Protocol games. There's an area for our Shatterpoint games, an area for our Legion games. So we'll go to the Marvel Crisis Protocol streaming booth, which is run by the Professional Casual Network. Bunch of really cool cats that run that channel, and they're going to be streaming all of our games for Marvel Crisis Protocol throughout Adepticon. So we're just going to take over that for like 2.5 hours. You know, and I'm kind of a monster, so like if we go over, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They'll have to deal with me, but I made special because you guys were so excited and you got everybody's painting their miniatures. You actually finished 10 miniatures. I'm so proud of you all. You were converting them. I was shocked. Like literally 2 weeks ago, I was like, we need special terrain for this. So I made special terrain for it. I got it all painted.
Nice.
We made a special scenario. Once again, it's a very curated. There's no rules to this. I'm gonna have development director, manager, whatever his title is, Will Pagani standing next to me.
Okay.
And he's gonna whisper in my ear, be like, you should have Aaron not be able to move his miniature. I'm gonna be like, Aaron, you can't move your miniature. Like, so I'm gonna have the rules guy there, right there, like, and we're just gonna make stuff up on the go. We're gonna make it up.
I'm already ready.
But we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna fake seizures and stuff like just to get my way. So it'll
There might be a cage match situation. There might be some dexterity based games just for Matt, because I know Matt likes dexterity based games. There might be some dexterity-based challenges.
So we got a question. Greg wants to know if randoms can come and watch. Like, are people going to be able to watch this, or is it just kind of like us doing a Twitch or a stream thing? Or I don't know.
I believe there's going to be stanchions, so nobody can come to the table.
Yeah.
But there's stanchions, and I think people can be around the stanchions. Okay. If I don't have that confirmed, but I believe that's the way it was.
So probably Greg. But then he's in a class, so I guess that solves that problem.
But it's also going to be streamed on Professional Casual, and you'll be able to watch it later.
Do we need a wrestling intro music for our characters when they arrive?
100%.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
100%.
Don't forget y'all's dice. Don't forget do y'all have your movement and range widgets? You're gonna need it. Yeah. Each of you will need to bring your movement.
Maybe
and
I'll
range
paint
widgets.
that on
I don't
Monday.
think I have those.
I have an extra set. You can borrow mine, Matt.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And then I went online because when I was playing Slice Spread last weekend, he was like, none of your cards are up to date. So I printed out new ones.
I don't think it's gonna matter right now. It's fine. It's fine. It's like.
Trust me, it's not gonna matter.
Okay. I'm bringing the old cards in because that's too much. Like I get paper cuts and stuff. Like it's
Don't worry. We're gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Do we need our little card? The little.
We're gonna have an amazing. It's gonna look great too.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see
awesome.
all of these guys on the table. It's gonna be so cool.
The only thing you need is. Go ahead, Anthony. Okay. Sorry.
Is it going to be VOD?
Yeah, they'll put it back. They'll put it up.
All right. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, cool. So
you need your characters, character cards, and your measuring widgets, and a bucket of dice.
Okay. And what about
Probably-
the little cards that give us special powers? Does that not matter either? Like,
Oh, tactic cards?
yeah, the tactic cards. I spent like 2 hours figuring out which 10 cards I was going to bring.
I think, yes, you guys get tactic cards.
Okay, so if we need them, just tell us in our little chat.
I
thing.
think you get tactic cards because I think I have a way to give you tactic cards back or take them away.
Oh. Yeah, that would be cool.
Alright.
So anyways, I got my 10. Matt's going to need some help there.
That's fine.
I
can
have,
go down-
I have some X-Men oriented cards. But Matt, did you get like Professor X's stuff? Like his
Well, I think
cards
there's
and
extra
things?
cards in the sets, right?
But I don't know if the
I don't know. I don't know if I got all of the cards. Like I think I have a few tactic cards. I have to look, but
But do you
I
have the
don't- I don't
character
know.
cards though?
I think I have most of them.
The only one I didn't have the
There
character
might have been a
card was
couple of
Thor.
them that didn't come with cards, so
Yeah.
I can print them out online.
Yeah.
I can put them on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it should be okay. It should be all
I
right.
think, yeah,
They're all print on demand. They're all print from
I'm
our
pretty
website.
Sure they're
Yeah.
over here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Beast. This is happening Friday 2 to 4 at
Mhm.
the streaming center at the Adepticon.
Yeah.
At
I don't know
Adepticon.
where it is.
It's gonna be hot. It's
We're
gonna be
gonna-
hot.
Well, Anthony and I are going to be wearing thongs. You know, man.
Vote for color.
Dude, that guy's so rad. Like, both of them are so rad. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's super
The
cool.
cards.
Cool.
I purposely I have a 3-point, a 4-pointer, and a 5-pointer. That's like the only thing I must tell you.
You only have 4 people. Mephisto plus 3.
Mephisto plus 3. That's all I have.
So it's going to be 30 on 4, which means they're definitely going to have like an easy button where they can just smash us or something. Cause hey, those are the best kinds of games when everyone just gets wiped out like immediately, you know, it goes really quick and you have fun, things blow up, you know.
Hang on. I think
Either
I
that
have.
or we're gonna turn on each other.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I think don't underestimate that.
Yeah, when we're talking about streaming some more after this, and like we're all gonna be like hate each other after the game because like I stabbed Matt in the back, and
But how do you win? Do you have to beat you, Dallas, or what?
So
Like-
I only have one team tactic card.
win at all cost. Yeah, great,
I
great,
can
that's
do
awesome.
whatever I want.
And it costs him 0 power, so he can just.
You are trying to redeem your characters, and everybody else is trying to damn your characters. The first person to run out of characters wins.
Run out of characters.
Oh. Well, I'm good at
I
that.
think that's I don't quote me on that. I don't remember the win condition.
Okay.
I'm guessing we get damned and then Dallas gets to take them and turn them against
Turn 'em-
us.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So what you're saying is Dallas is going
This
to
is
end
gonna
up
be
with
awesome,
30
yeah.
guys, and we'll end up with
Yeah,
1 or 2.
yeah. Let's not get cocky.
The first person that bends to Dallas's will wins. Is what you're saying?
Maybe look, Mephisto's a fellow likes to make deals. Maybe like you like need the power of Thor on your turn,
There you go.
and like maybe Storm just needs the power of Thor this turn. So let's talk. Let's make a deal.
There you go.
There's always repercussions though.
That sounds cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
I'm excited to see the train. That's like. And the
Time to read
train
up.
was all specially done just like Miss Fiston, right? So
Yep.
it's going to be legit stuff.
That's awesome, man.
Gonna be fun.
Very cool.
Read up on some Mephisto comics.
Yeah. Right on.
Oh, read up on some Mephisto comics. Like Doctor Strange has some good storylines with him.
Okay, yeah.
I
I
feel
will
like
check
everything's
that.
just going to start catching on fire. Like, We're all gonna be running
Get
around.
those,
I'm
get those
burning.
newspapers ready, Aaron.
Yeah, because like pyro can hit you with a burn market token, right? So like I could just see all of us catching on fire and running around.
Yeah, I got
I'm
some.
bringing extra incinerate
Yeah,
tokens.
yeah. Everyone's on fire. Go. All right. Sweet. So excited.
Hooray. Hooray.
I think pyro's immune though, so that'll work out pretty good.
Maybe everyone on fire only gets to move short this
Yeah.
turn. Who knows?
Or maybe people who are immune to fire actually catch on fire, and everyone else is safe. You know, like.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I can just see Will on the side with his little calculator calculating. All right, how can we ruin these guys' day? Okay, go. No,
That is why he's there. Pagani's there to make sure whatever I do is still within the realm of rules.
So it's almost like he's the dungeon master a little bit, and he just curves the game to his will.
Dallas is the dungeon master. Will Pagani is the
dungeon master.
He's like
He's the rule book. Yeah, he's the DMG and the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I can't go anywhere without Pagani. I gotta have my personal support Pagani.
No, that's gonna be super cool.
No.
Very nice.
Pretty sweet.
Sweet deal. All right. Well,
cool.
It's almost midnight. Do we have anything else we wanted to share, or are we kind of good?
I think I'm good.
Unless you want to see other things I'm working on.
Yeah, let's see your other stuff, Matt.
You're gonna show the thing you painted right over that weekend?
Yeah, I thought I could show just a sneak peek for anybody who's online still, kind of. Well, I did another 3-hour paint job here, which was this little bust. Me and 5 of my friends, we all painted our own versions, but this one's mine. This little guy. So we did 3-hour speed paint. So this is that one that I painted in some of those like desaturated jewel tones.
Very cool.
Yeah,
not bad for 3 hours. I really liked it. I thought it turned out great, and I was just really happy with it.
Where's that model from?
I think it went out with one of the Dave Taylor series. Of,
that was the model from the Dave Taylor thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's very it's got a cool environment, you know. The environment looks cool.
And then I'll show you my work in progress. This one is definitely work in progress, but it'll be like finished to my high standard.
What the witch? Are you gonna show the Witch King?
Yeah, that's one of my works.
Super sweet.
So yeah, I think she's looking awesome.
One of my students is painting that same model, except he's doing a lot darker than yours. Yeah,
well, I think the Witch King is pretty damn dark.
Well,
right?
yeah. But his whole thing is darker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking sweet.
That's very cool.
The variation on the black looks really cool, and the contrast with her is like it's pretty striking. It's pretty.
Yeah, definitely wanted a contrast between the two characters and have a really strong focus. Yeah.
Very cool.
I really like how the armor is turning out on her.
Yeah, that armor's looking sick.
Got some Sky Earth going on. Pretty sweet. It's got the... Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Awesome, dude.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm just pretty stoked about that. So I thought I'd give people a sneak peek. Still a lot to do, but I'm really happy with it. So that's pretty cool. Anyway.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome. Last week for Adepticon.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good one. It was a doozy.
Yeah, if you're missing this one, you're missing a good one. Like, I'm just saying, like, the reveals, like our reveals, I'm so excited to show that stuff off.
Yeah, I can't believe you kept it a secret that long. Those are hard things that like you got to show people, right? Like you're like, this is super cool. You can't show anybody.
Well, and I mean, I started those like almost immediately after we started this discussion, and like last year when you guys came to me last year, it was like, let's play a game next year at Adepticon, and I immediately sat down with Pagani and I'm like, what should we do? And he's like, this, and I talked to Schick, and Schick is like, make it, dude, you got to make it, make it a thing. And I was just like, we went through a couple ideas, and it's just the spirit of vengeance idea. I was just like, man, I could just convert some spirits. Like, I just love the idea of characters with the spirit of vengeance, right? Yeah. Like, it's so visually dramatic. Once again, that silhouette, right? The flames, the chains, like this universal like thing that ties some characters together. So I just started converting like last year. So these have been like, I've been working on this stuff forever.
Yeah.
That's cool. No, well, thanks, Dallas. This is going to be a lot of fun. It'll be great to see everybody too. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, these streams are great, but it's a lot more fun seeing everybody in person.
Yeah, real life. It's gonna look awesome on the table too. Like.
Oh my god!
For sure.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah.
Good game for sure.
So, yeah, Striker's also ready to see all the new releases, right? So that's happening, right? This year, there's gonna be like a release for all the AMG stuff.
Yeah, we have our normal like we'll have the worthy, right, and then we'll do the worthy like award ceremony, but then we also have a reveal stream where we're going to show off all the new Legion stuff. Like if y'all haven't been following Legion, like Legion's in a whole new refresh and a new version of it. Like the squads are bigger, the point sizes are bigger, so it's a bigger army game. But we got a bunch of stuff to show off for Legion. I'm actually working on my Legion army right here for it.
What is it?
I'm working on some dope ass. Ross, I can share, right? Hang on.
Is he at your house? He's looking across.
No, he's in the stream, and I got him in my chat, and now he's got to chat me.
Yeah, we got to check. Let's not get anyone in trouble here.
But a bunch of cool stuff from Marvel Crisis Protocol is about to be shown off at Adepticon too, and maybe some surprises. Like who knows what Adepticon's gonna bring.
Yeah,
I'm digging it.
Should be super.
And we get to hug each other, like Matt said, right? This is great, but in person we get to give each other hugs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And feed each other French fries and comb each other's hair and
and then destroy each other.
Ross, where you at, Ross?
Ross is off he's probably eating a burrito or something. SoCal.
He's probably eating a burrito. Dude, I love Ross shows a picture of himself eating a burrito like every 2 days.
I don't like
and
it at all.
He brings me so much joy.
Is Ross in San Diego getting
too far away?
I miss a good burrito, San Diego.
Yeah, why not?
Ross says, yeah, why not? Do it.
Oh, is he in that chat? Oh,
Atomic Mass Games is Ross, right?
Dallas going to give away the next 2 years of releases for... No, I'm just kidding.
Let me see. What do I want to show? So I'm working on...
Oh, it's a new army, like a new releases.
Yeah, I'm doing some stormtroopers, some Legion stormtroopers.
Do you have your camera still set up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be better. Because all we see is a black miniature, which is great and all, but oh boy, here we go.
I'm working on the new Empire Force for myself because I really like.
This is Legion, right?
This is Legion.
Okay.
Cool.
And I'll show you the new.
Is that hard plastic?
Who's your favorite like core Star Wars character outside of Darth Vader? Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia,
Chewie. Boba Fett.
Does it have to be a
No,
good
I
guy?
mean from those that group. That's
Oh,
where I
oh.
am.
Han Solo, probably for me.
Yeah, probably Han Solo or
yeah,
Luke.
Han.
I mean, Darth Vader.
Okay,
Right,
that
of
doesn't
course.
look like Han Solo at all.
It's Darth
It's
Solo.
Han Vader. Yeah. Hey, we should do a Legion army for next year, Anthony. Like, you know, we each paint up like 150 figures and no, I'm just kidding. Oh,
sweet.
yeah.
Awesome,
That
man.
actually looks kind of like him.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's cool, dude.
Nice.
I like this Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that
yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that Leia, and I love the Bosch Leia.
Boss Leia is dope.
Yeah, Shatterpoint is super cool. Nice.
Womp.
Luke.
Nice.
Very
Super
cool.
cool. Yeah. Epic Star Wars battles. Cool idea. All right.
Very nice.
All right.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it for the show tonight. But thanks for
Thanks for
coming out,
joining,
you guys.
everyone. Fun.
Thanks everybody who
Yeah.
showed up and
Yeah, everyone in
joined
the
us.
chat, good questions, good questions.
Yeah.
It was cool seeing all that fun stuff, and yeah, very cool. We will
Get ready for next week.
Yeah, I'm not ready.
Yeah. You're ready.
Hey, at least
you'll be ready.
Hey, this part, Adepticon Showdown, I'm totally ready for. Everything else, not ready.
Anthony hasn't even started building his miniatures for his classes. Come on.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried. Heather was in on the stream, and she said that my package hadn't gotten there yet, and I think it was supposed to get there on Tuesday, so I'm kind of wondering.
Oh,
A little worried.
Got him.
Oh, no.
Anyways, I'll do a backup plan. You know, I always do, but good times, good times. It'll all work out. She'll get them tomorrow. That's what it is. But cool. All right, guys. Well, I will. We'll see you guys in a week. Yeah, and everyone in the chat that will be there, we'll see you too. Don't be shy. Come up, say hi, whatever.
Definitely.
And
Oh, I like that. Don't be shy. Come say hi.
there you go. I try to rhyme a lot. You know.
Maybe we'll go get some pie.
Liz is watching our little niece every day, and so I sing songs to her when I'm, you know, if I feed her to give Liz a break or something. And my songs are generally really horrible, but they all rhyme. They all rhyme. So she'll probably be very damaged as she gets older, but you know, it is what it is.
You should work that into the game somehow, Dallas. You have to make Aaron sing his horrible songs.
Oh, there's a pie shop 2 blocks from the Baird Center.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I heard about this. There's also some fancy cupcake shops.
There's supposed to be like restaurants and stuff around there, right? Like more than Chicago?
Yeah, because like if you look at a map, we are downtown, and like there are very good restaurants all around there. Cool. And there's also some like high-end joints, which I'm super excited for.
This is reminding me. It's reminding me of Nova Open because like I went there for the first time last year, and you just walk outside, and within a block, it's just a row of restaurants.
It's just row of food. Yeah.
Oh that's my gosh, so good. So there's this British hamburger joint that's so stinking good.
Really?
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to Adepticon this year. I think it'll be cool. And I think our game's going to be super cool. And we will crush Dallas with the crushingness. Even though he can basically do whatever he wants and change the rules mid-game. So, you know, it is what it is, but I think we'll be good.
Oh, I'm going to work reality.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be pretty cool. Well, hey, if your Mephiston gets stolen halfway through the game, I don't know who took him. Just saying.
That doesn't sound guilty at all, Aaron.
You know, I'm just saying, like, as a consolation prize, if we get wiped out, we should all receive, like, a little Mephiston, like, you know, just a, you know, just as a consolation prize, you know, like.
What's that? But
am I cutting out? Hey. Yeah. So a little not working out so well. Yeah, cool beans. All right, man. Well, we will see y'all later. See you guys next week. Anybody in the chat, we'll see you. Everybody else, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.